Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LightBringers podcast. A very somber podcast where no one is going to stop me from talking today. Twitch.tv/Jebro Uni for the LightBringers podcast, episode 12, maybe. And we have some guests that have returned. And some guests that have never left and have been here for the last 2 weeks. It's very nice to see you all and hear you. Because no one else can right now. That's great, isn't it? Thanks. I can hear you now.
Good time.
Well, why am I like zoomed in 100% on my camera here? What's going on?
What, on the
Really
stream?
up close and personal with you.
So I can see you.
Yeah, but it's just reduced. There's people have seen enough.
They're like a little closer.
What are you talking about?
Okay, not that
We're
close.
all the same now. We're all equal. Like, I've zoomed in on everyone.
Yeah, and we definitely have not seen enough because you have been away for a long time, Boots. And we need to see as much of you as possible, so.
Okay, thank you.
I'll turn you lot up a little bit.
Or turn us down and just make sure we
Yeah.
can't ruin the podcast.
Yeah,
That
turn
works.
us down, zoom me out. Let's just stay very far away from. Just like we'll yell across a chasm for this podcast. I think
That's fun.
that's
Let's
the
all meet
aesthetic
at the
here.
Grand Canyon and do a podcast, but we're on the other sides, so we have to yell, and it echoes. So there is like a delay, but it's not internet delay; it's real world delay.
Is that actually a thing? Like, can you actually hear if you yell on one side of the Grand Canyon to the other side?
I mean, I'm just built different, so my lungs and vocal cords probably.
I think you can, but I don't know if it'll echo because if you're both on top of the canyon.
Don't
Like-
think that's a real thing, Brooke. No. I'm sorry.
I mean, think about how cool that would be, though, if we all made a pact and then we, like, all got into our cars and we drove to the Grand Canyon and then we did that and we recorded ourselves. I got excited for a second.
I'm sorry.
We should do that. We should do that.
Like,
Can we?
I'm
Okay.
free
Well,
next
we'll get
week,
a.
let's go.
What we'll do is we'll get a helicopter to fly above the Grand Canyon with dangling a microphone halfway
Okay. I love
in the
it. Good.
canyon. 2 of us on one side of the canyon, 2 of us on the other side of the canyon, yelling at the microphone in the middle of the canyon.
Great, because I know a guy. Let's do it.
Okay. All right.
All right, I'm ready. I'll pack up. I'm gonna be there.
Me too. This is next week.
Yeah, like next week, you think? Probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. I'm done.
I like how Jebro has just left his body and is just smiling, staring into nowhere. Like,
Jebro
why
went
did I
into
do a
full
podcast?
disassociation. He's just
Yeah,
like,
oh,
he's
yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah. I know it very well. Cool.
So, are we doing like
what are we
some
doing
sort of
today?
podcast today?
Why am I
What's-
here? Someone help me.
What's my
Jebro hasn't
purpose?
told us what we're doing today.
We are here to talk about Guild Wars. Say hello as well and talk about each other. That's fine. That's okay. I don't mind. We have random intros, always lovely and great and amazing. Yeah, we haven't been for 2 weeks. It's been a bit. I literally graduated last weekend, so that's why we weren't here.
Congratulations.
Amazing.
It's a fake graduation though, because I've still got 1 more quarter left.
You
But it's
totally
still a
tricked me
fake.
on Twitter. You were like,
Oh,
I'm
yeah, no.
graduating. And I was like, congratulations. I'm so proud of you. And I love you. And everything you do is amazing. And Jebro was like, well, I do technically have 1 more semester. And
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
weird. I don't know. It's weird.
Don't
It's the
mess
weirdest
up.
thing. It's 'cause
I
of
have a
intention.
question.
7.
I have a question
questions.
for you.
1 question, yeah. You're only allowed 1, so
The entire podcast?
Yes.
Oh shit! I just asked a question. Fuck.
Oh,
Wow, you just
damn,
F-bombed
right.
first. as
Well,
wow.
Well, looks
You
like we're
would-
gonna have to shut up now.
Yeah, you would lose in like
Yeah.
magic, fae, or dragon situation where you had like 1 riddle kind of thing. You would lose in that situation, Boots.
I
But you got to
would.
work on this.
I
You need
would.
to-
What
you
is
should
your
have-
favorite color? I haven't. No,
Apple.
my question is this: on a lot of podcasts I listen to,
No.
specifically
Yes.
Comedy Bang Bang,
Wait, Comedy
there
Bang Bang?
is-
Hmm,
yeah, it's a good
what's that one
podcast.
about?
It's like an improv. There's people who come. Anyway, it's comedy.
Yeah, sure, of
comedy.
course it is. Oh, yeah. Mhm.
So there is.
It's in the
there
name, right?
is,
Bang Bang.
on the commercials. On the commercials, one of the commercials is for something called Betterhelp.com.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
I have a question about that. Is that something you'd consider doing, or is it a scam?
Oh, that's a big question for the start of the podcast, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will give some information about Betterhelp because I think that's actually something which is important nowadays. I think that is a good thing. So Betterhelp, like any online telehealth therapy, which is specifically based online, where you do not interact with a receptionist, you do not interact with necessarily a person before you even get seen, is hit or miss. Like it's going to be a different experience for everyone. I was just full disclosure. I was sponsored by Betterhelp for like 6 months, ages ago as a therapist. They had good reputation. They were advocated for by professors, by program peeps, but they also weren't massively sure about them either. But even though I kind of spoke to them and made sure it was okay that I did this kind of thing, as like a future counselor. I know many people who have had amazing experiences. I know many people who have had very, very crap experiences.
Okay, so it's kind of a grab bag.
Well, that is also counseling in general.
Yeah, right. That's a good point. That's a good point. Because not everybody, like a lot of people go through a bunch of different counselors before finding the one that is for them anyway.
And that does not mean that the counselor is bad. That does not mean the service is necessarily bad. That means the person had a bad experience and they have related that to future people, which, you know, is not the best. Like I would say if you're ever trying to find a mental health counselor, I will have clients who will not like me in the future. That is just people. It's like, you know, you can choose your counselor. Like if you don't like your counselor, like maybe like do the work around that. And if you just don't like them, don't spend that time with them. That's your money.
For sure. For sure. And also like the way I understand it, also like some counselors like will specialize in a type of therapy, specialize in a method of, and that method might just not work for some people, right? So so I guess there's very different. You can go from all the way from the past, from when you were born, and talk about attachment theory, which is very much about, you know, early relationships with parents and those being transferred into the present and how you act and feel around people. Or you can have very, very in the now, present, future, like even future therapy, where you don't talk about the past whatsoever and you just talk about your behavior and you adjust behavior to adjust your feelings around relationships, people, feelings, etc. So there's very, very different things out there. There's also like EDMR, which is like I don't know everything about it because I'm still learning, but there's like loads of different behavioral stuff, which is really, really interesting. I use a lot of video games in my therapy now. I've started to do that. As well as like people use art. I've done some drama therapy as well recently, which is very interesting. There's loads of stuff, and it really depends. Like, do you want to be in person? Do you want to be like? There's the different energy in the room. There's loads of different. If anyone has any questions in chat, I would love to answer them, honestly. But we're gonna talk about Guild Wars 2, but I love talking about this kind of stuff, obviously. And there probably will be like a therapy. Yeah, no, seriously. And like on the side, if anyone has any questions about therapy or like getting into it, I would gladly, my DMs are open on Discord. Like I will not give you therapy, but I will answer very vague, random questions about therapy. I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to advocate for therapy, as I know everyone here is. What about specific random questions?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to be anyone's therapist. That's
no. I mean, like about Betterhelp. So with Betterhelp in particular, if you have a bad experience, can you switch to something? Is it easy to change? Okay. All right, I mean,
I know you can. I have not done it. So, and also I know people that have had bad experiences, and also it's very, very tech based. So if you're not tech savvy, I'm not talking about if it's you. If you're not very tech savvy, that could be a problem. And also the good thing about telehealth is you can do just text based only. Or you can do camera, you can do phone, you can do whatever. But it doesn't limit you. What happens
if you go on Betterhelp for a addiction to like iPhone stuff? Like what?
I'd find probably a specialist in your area for that kind of stuff. If you're like, there are people that do that work. There are people that do that work, and it's more about. Wouldn't even be more about the. It would really depend on who you saw. So you could see someone who was a counselor based on like tech addiction or internet addiction therapy. But then you're dealing with more of an addiction rather than just the
Yeah, and
tech.
probably you
and why
shouldn't be
you're addicted
using
to
the
it.
internet to cure the internet addiction.
There is an argument for that, yes. But also, and this is the problem nowadays as well, and parents with their kids. The thing is that the future and not understanding technology, and a lot of parents put their kids into therapy because they think they're addicted to technology. The way the world is nowadays in 2022 is very different to the way the generation, and not even boomer, I'm talking about millennial, I'm talking about even like, generation below starting to get to that point now. Technology is the future. If your kid is spending a lot of time on an iPad, on the internet or anything else, monitor them, make sure they're safe for sure, but like they're interacting with people. The likelihood is that they're probably interacting in communities that they've chosen to interact with. They're probably in places which are safe, and most of the time, because kids are smarter than you think. You have to give them a certain amount of trust, but like you have to be very careful with addiction to things like that, because kids have to learn this stuff because it's more in their future than it is in ours. That our future is dwindling away. Theirs is, very bright and very, very present, and it's important that they know this stuff. But there is,
dark, man.
Well,
I mean,
the
that's
future is
dark,
dwindling
yeah.
away.
it might sound dark, but it's true. You should have heard my.
Jesus Christ.
You should have heard my speech. The speech that was at the flipping graduation I had. That guy was doom and gloom. I'm telling you, it was one of those things where it's like the world's. No, it was literally that. It was like the world is literally on fire, and you have to go and set the world on fire, but also with water. I don't know. It was funny.
Gosh.
It was kind of bad, but but not like. I'm not trying to sound down about it, but like your kids are the future. Like help them, manage that. But also people can be addicted, and people can find places on the internet which can encourage bad behavior as well. Like people find forums. I've had conversations a lot about depression and suicide recently on like discords, where people join self-harm discords. They join depression and suicide discords, and sorry if I'm trigger warning for people. But like, and they join places like this, and it does influence them. And I don't want to scare people, but you do have to monitor your kids. You do have to, trust them, give them the space they need to learn these things, but also, be interested, but in a positive way. Like if you try and tell them not to do something, they're going to go do it. That's just the way kids are. And you remember that as a child yourself, I'm sure. But just be safe, be interested, and if you're interested, you'll find out the things they're interested in and where they hang out, and you can do it in a good way. Sorry, thank you, Bees, for that question. It does open up a lot of stuff, though.
My pleasure.
I wanted to add one thing on the end of that, which is that recently, during an event that I was doing, we were raising money for an organization, Rise Above the Disorder, which if anybody doesn't know about that too, because like we've seen Betterhelp out there talked about a lot as like a resource, especially in countries where like maybe it's not very affordable for you to get help, or you don't really know how to go about getting help. But Rise Above the Disorder works internationally with over 133 countries to help you like formulate a plan, get you connected to somebody. They'll even cover the costs of therapy in many cases. Like,
that's awesome.
So I was really surprised. But I mean, if anybody's looking for things like that, and you're thinking like, well, it could be kind of hit or miss for me with something like telehealth or BetterHelp, like that seems like such a good resource. And people were even sharing some of their stories when we were raising money about that, and how they covered costs for them and made it possible for them to get the treatment that they needed. So
That's great.
Yeah, that is good, because then if they're not doing the therapy themselves, they can do that. That's good, because like licensing is very, very, very complicated. I with anything, do research. Yeah, thank you for that resource. Actually, I have not heard of them. So I need to look at them myself. But like, yeah, just do your research. Like, know if you want to get counseling, like. In-person telehealth is very different feelings, but the whole thing is evolving, and there might be people that want to engage in things with you that you might enjoy. It's a good way. Telehealth is a very interesting way of engaging. Trust me, it's a totally different way of doing counseling, and I've done a lot of it, and it can be very effective. Okay. I will literally keep talking about this if I don't change the subject back to Guild Wars 2, because I am a counselor, and this is becoming a real thing. And in August, September, I will literally be a getting paid for it at some point in time.
Congratulations.
Hopefully, thank you. But hopefully, I've got to apply for jobs first. But I will finish my internship.
That is a thing.
Oof.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, there's a million jobs out there for counsellors because everyone is fucked. So, in the in the nicest possible way, you know what the state of the world right now. I mean, everyone's kind of in that place. Hey, with the viewership we have, it's okay. I'm allowed to say that. But you know what I mean. With the way the state of the world is, if you have any empathy at all as a person, which is most of the human race, honestly, we all have empathy. We just have different levels. You can empathize with everything that's going on in the world, and I laugh and I joke, but it is a place at the moment. We're potentially going into recession across the entire world. We're currently at war in some countries. We're currently, we've just come out of a...
No dabs
You don't
for recession.
dab.
Oh, good
No
Lord.
dabs for recession.
I'm ready for the recession.
Good Lord. There is a lot going on in the world, which isn't great. But there's people in the world, there's loads of great stuff happening. Pride is on at the moment, right? Pride is a wonderful thing to have happen right now. We had Mental Health Month last month, so we've got more people out there that want to help and do all the things.
We are getting fucked, but we're also getting fucked.
Well, we're just going straight there. This is the definitely rated R podcast episode. Where did we go? Kroof? You're not here for 2 weeks.
Happy Pride!
So
Happy
good.
Pride, everybody!
Jesus.
Live your lives, be responsible, take care of
Yay.
yourself.
That's true. That's true.
Everyone
Gay
get
do crime.
fucked.
That's right. Everybody get fucked. What's that? Oh, that's the Lonely Island song as well. And you're also on a boat. I think there's some banter going on and some fun times because we haven't all four been together for a number of months. So
I
there
know.
is
Yeah,
that.
because
months.
Normally when
mostly
we're
my
together, there's no banter, no fun times. But yeah, it's been a little bit,
true.
so
But there's a
we have
slightly,
more than usual.
There's more than
We got
usual
really
for the
burnt
intro.
out on each other, but now that we've had a break, we're like, oh my god.
Oh, are you trying to create a segue?
Segways 2, we returned for a Guild Wars 2 podcast.
To know, because one of the things Jebro said we were supposed to talk about was burnout. So you said we got burned out on each other.
I like how you're
yeah.
segueing to what the actual show is. That's where we are in the podcast now. We're actually
feel like I missed a couple of chapters.
we're so far out of the podcast right now. We're actually segueing back to the podcast to then segue to something in the podcast that we're going to be talking about today, which is actually we're not going to talk about burnout first, but that is something we're going to
First,
talk about.
we're going to talk about the reason why we haven't been together for a few weeks. It's because I've been gone. I went back to Montreal for a wedding, and it was very nice, and I had a good time. And I recommend anybody who hasn't been to Montreal yet, go to Montreal. It's a very nice place.
You have a cat as well, and also continue to talk. Sorry, Beats.
I have 2 cats, Jeb. Normally I lock them out of the room, but Montreal sounds beautiful.
It's very nice.
Boots,
Sorry.
sounds so
It's beautiful.
nice. That's
Yeah.
okay, Jeb.
Got triggered
Been,
by
but I've
pets.
seen pictures.
I also get excited when
where
I
I
see an
grew up.
animal on camera.
That's
Where I
awesome.
grew up and I love it. And I have in my freezer, I have 6 Montreal bagels ready to be
Oh,
eaten.
okay.
They're very important.
Went from
Are they
wedding to
way
freezers.
better than regular bagels?
They're regular bagels, about 4 billion times better than regular bagels.
Oh my.
And about 3 times better than New York bagels.
Oh my god, I gotta go
Okay, I
Montreal. I love bagels. Yes!
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I
Been a bagel for a while.
was literally talking about this on stream, but I don't think people appreciate the star power that a bagel has. It is the unsweetened donut, and everyone loves donuts. So if you want a savory donut, and instead of a glaze, you got that cream cheese, I mean, come on.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
the
bagels.
thing about Montreal bagels is they themselves are the star of a lot of things you put on them. So like you could, with them, what I do is I sometimes just go get them fresh and eat them on the way home, like just with nothing on them because they're just that good.
I'm so hungry now for bagels.
I've had a bagel for a while. I'm trying to
Me
cut
too.
out bread again. But
Y'all want to go for bagels
man.
after this?
Yeah.
Oh, Jebro, is this why you've been so dark on the podcast today? Because you decided to deprive yourself of bread? Don't. Bread
No,
is delicious.
no, no,
Jebro.
no.
Explains
Bread
a
is
lot,
delicious.
Beautiful
actually.
gift.
But
It's
a
so
bit-
good.
If you're feeling down and you're feeling agitated,
It's a
eat some
bit-
carbs.
It's some
It's
carbs.
a carb.
Bread.
Hey,
You will
I ate
instantly
two.
feel better.
I will eat some bread. I will get some bread. I've got a brownie here. That helps. Anyway, we're actually going to talk
Should we
about
do
something.
intros?
I mean, I don't know if we need to do intros. I feel like everyone knows us by now, but I mean, we could do. Let's do a very, very quick. Yeah, donuts. That's it. In the chat. Put your favorite snack emote in the chat. Let's do it. I want to see some snack emotes.
There's snack
I don't know if
emotes.
you have like. I've got a snack emote, like eating a thing emote.
Oh, I thought you meant like find an emote of our favorite.
Yeah, Kroof
snack.
just did
The
Kroof
nostrils.
emotes, which because Kroof is a snack.
Kroof is a snack. That's agreed. So, I mean, I
That's
guess
fair
got
enough.
this one. But my favorite snack, well, dumplings might be one of my favorite snacks. So I guess this does represent
I like
part of it.
dumplings. That's
But
true.
so are chips. I can eat entire bags, multiple bags of potato chips if you
Yeah.
let me at them.
Yes.
It's bad.
I'm a
I
chocolate fiend as well.
I just love them.
Yeah, I like them a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I have to try and like not do that anymore. Okay, thank you very much. What is your favorite flavor of chips? Ooh,
Better
Cool
sour
Ranch Doritos.
cream.
Yeah, sour cream is
And
good.
sour cream.
Okay, Cool Ranch Doritos though too, also really
Dill
good.
pickle is pretty good.
I think
Dill
we talked
pickle
about this before.
and ketchup is also good.
Yeah,
but
we
nobody
did
agrees
because
with
I
me.
mentioned
Yeah,
Marmite
we draw the
flavored
line at
crisps.
ketchup. I don't know what
Yeah.
that's about.
I like
Dill
veggie
I
chips.
remember Boots saying dill pickle chips,
Yeah, I
which
think
is
that's
why I
it.
was
Chips are
like,
damn good.
I can kind of see it.
I think it's because
Ketchup.
I literally had a bag of dill pickle chips that I was eating on stream.
yes.
Oh, maybe actually.
Yes.
That's true.
I like jalapeno flavored too, and sometimes I get a hankering for barbecue, but
Ooh, barbecue is good. That's a very true story. A true
Lord
story.
Heisen, yes, we will eventually get to it as soon as we stop.
Wait, what are we talking
chips.
So, Guild Wars 2, what's up on the docket, Jebro?
There's loads
How
of
tell
are
us
stuff.
about the game Guild Wars
feeling?
2.
We've really just veered this off course.
It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I don't care. I really don't.
Was there ever
I mean,
a course to begin with?
Exactly.
Like, let's be
that's
honest.
True. It's summer next week. Like, school's out for a couple of weeks for me. I've only got like 6 lessons left of my entire film career. Boots
Okay.
is back. Kroof
Tio,
is here.
though, you just blew my mind saying it's summer next week because it's true. It's summer on the 21st of June technically,
Yeah.
but it's been like a million degrees where
I live
for
in
the last
Seattle where
3
it's
weeks.
like been overcast forever. So
Yeah.
It's really hot by us too in Chicago. We have a heat
Yeah.
wave right now.
There's a heat bubble apparently over the entire United States.
well,
Ooh.
well, not here. Like,
Yeah, we really got to stop farting. Like,
yeah,
problem.
Seattle does not exist inside
The
the United
Untamed
States.
came
most
onto
of
the
time.
scene, and it was never the same.
Oh wow, is the UK that bad as well? Oh dear, that's not good. Oh, we do. Heat in the UK is like literally like the entire summer you just talk about it being hot, and then that's it.
it's like the entire globe is like getting warmer.
It's like some
That's like-
warm thing. Like
I feel
it's
like you should
global.
brand that.
Yeah.
I feel like
What would
should
you call
really
it,
just
though?
Copyright it.
Like what? What would you call it?
Earth hottening?
Earth hottening.
No, we can
That
workshop
sounds like
it.
something better. That
sounds pretty good, though.
that sounds good. Oh, we're hottening
The Earth
the
is
world.
lit.
Yeah, I'll probably make it a little bit better. It's on fire. The literal fire. Hot Earth Summer. Yeah, I like that.
Or
There's
as
probably a movie.
Sweaty
About
summer. Sweatapalooza.
It's not hot girl summer, it's hot Earth summer.
I don't know. I
Back
like the
summer is good.
hottening. I think that's good.
Yeah. You're
Jebro,
also-
we need you to direct us.
Yes,
please.
I know. I'm not
Need a
doing very good.
director.
I'm not doing very good either.
Deborah,
So
we're the talent. We need some direction.
I just like talking, man. It's all good.
I do too.
So about
This is just an
Guild Wars
excuse.
You.
2.
We're begging you to get us back on track here.
Like, Deborah,
Okay.
Save us.
please punish us.
We've got more viewers because we're not talking about Guild Wars 2, so that's the truth.
That's not how
It
it,
I
is
got
the
works.
truth.
69 on
It
my
is the
screen.
truth because sometimes there is burnout, and that's not where we're going to first. We're going to talk about, first of all, actually, what was the title order? Let me just double check. Edit stream. Gem score skins. So I had actually had this conversation on on the Twitter with a couple of people, and it does pop up every so often. So we are going to switch gears into Guild Wars 2, everyone.
Tio, I just noticed that on this vision of the screen,
Don't do this.
I am zoomed out on my camera.
It's a different scene.
It's a
Boots,
different
we're talking
scene.
about Guild Wars 2 now, Boots. We're
I
talking
don't
about Guild
care.
Wars 2 now.
This is very important to me. Okay, fine.
You're
let's
like the
continue.
continuity.
Is this better, Boots?
This
Is
is
this
better.
better,
It's-
mate?
no, this is terrible. Please.
Is this
Oh,
better?
hate
No,
this
I
face.
love this.
Get it
I
away.
love this. This
Get
is
it away.
good. This is nice.
I don't know. You
should
said
keep
you
it.
didn't seem to be very happy, so I was just want to make sure that you feel included. Okay.
I can
Hi.
see your painting so much better now. It's a nice painting you got
That
back
was-
there.
That was my mom actually made that painting.
Oh, that's good.
Wait, I'm gonna go get a painting that I made. Give me a second.
Yeah,
my
do
God.
that because this will definitely tie into Guild Wars 2, which we are talking about.
Wow. Y'all, chat, fair warning. I don't think we're gonna get anything done
Thank
today.
you very much, Brooke.
I really don't think. I
I
feel
know
like
I-
we're all.
I've only
There's
not-
a disturbance in the force.
I was on the podcast last time, Rook, but Rook, I've missed you as well. Genuinely.
Missed you too. I missed
I
you
love
too,
that
Brett.
Brooke wants to like literally just maybe like take a painting off the wall and just.
I mean,
fully
I'm not
realize it was in
gonna.
the closet.
I'm not gonna lie. I
lost
do
it?
genuinely want to see something that Boots has painted. You all missed out
course.
because before stream started today, Boots was telling us about a commercial that he was in as a child, where he was made to dress up as a penguin and sing a song about Boots, which somehow is not the origin of how he got this name, but is actually the origin of how he got into gaming because he used the money from the commercial to buy his first ever gaming console. And I am angry that you were all deprived of this story, but now at least we will not be deprived of Boots's art. So
No
I
one
mean,
tell
I'm
Boots.
ready.
He doesn't know that we told everyone, so shh.
Yeah, no one tell Boots, and also please
It was
find the commercial
destiny.
because we're trying to find the commercial, but we can't find the commercial.
Yeah,
and
I
we
was
need to
looking at
watch
it's like
it.
around 1990.
1990s. He
You're
said.
looking
Yeah.
at Boots
Like-
commercials in 1990.
Yeah.
That's your search like parameters.
Well. I believe the brand is Comic KM.
She's coming.
Oh. You'll be able to find that
I
on the
just
internet.
want to say I felt like I really liked you walking around because it felt like I was the FBI agent responsible for your webcams, and I was just like peering into you walking around. I'm like,
Where's
"This is
your
what my
painting?"
FBI agent does?"
I can't. I think it's in a closet somewhere or in the attic, and I can't find it.
You hid your own art from the world.
It
Wow.
doesn't. It's not framed. So
So
I
you
still would
hide
have wanted to
things.
see it.
okay, hold on.
No.
Find it.
I want
Go
you to be
find
on the
it.
podcast more. Oh my god. Well, if this episode goes on for like till like 5 o'clock my time, it's not my fault. I'm just saying. Okay, let's talk
I
about.
can't go that late because I have to meet someone at 7 p.m. tonight. So can't go that
What
late.
is that 4 p.m. Is it for my time?
That's
Wait, do you have to meet them
that's
online?
It's 5.
You have to meet
no, I
them
have to meet
online.
them in real human person
Yeah.
life at 7 p.m. CT.
Look, it's
which
like
is
I gotta
You
go.
shouldn't have asked Boots to go and find the flipping painting that you do.
There it is. That looks really nice.
Oh, maybe you should have. He's found it.
beautiful. This was worth it. But yeah, I will need some time to get my face so right and put clothes on. So
I mean, the clothes, you are wearing clothes at the moment.
yes, but I'm also secretly wearing
No.
sweatpants. So I gotta look cute.
Rook is just Casimir. It's just an illusion. I don't have to wear.
I'm sure
clothes.
you
I just,
look
like,
amazing in sweatpants as well. I know I do.
Question: why in the chat did Brakeli say Boots is a child
secret.
actor?
Someone found you on the internet and literally announced it in the stream just now. If you scroll up, you will be able to find the very, very, very secret text that about that.
Lollapalooza.
Anyway,
Is it love?
Guild Wars 2 and the cash shop and gem store items that we have in it.
Okay.
That was my transition, Jebro. You gotta follow up off of it.
yeah, look at the skin. Okay, so we're going to talk about skins. So, general opinion from everyone. And we have talked about this. I feel like we talk about this quite often in different places. We talk about skins and stuff. It's not going to be like a massively long conversation, but I thought it would be quite interesting. Just going to keep going. what do you think about skins in game versus skins in Gem Store? Now, remembering if you've not played Guild Wars 2 before, Guild Wars 2's model is very much play the game for free, but also buy expansions / living story. And when you have those things, you don't buy content anymore. The content that you buy on the Gem Store is things like skins, Black Lion stuff, things that can advance you a little bit, like XP potions, but that's not power. You cannot buy power on the Gem Store. It's mostly most of the best stuff, I guess. I think people basically complain about the fact that there's skins on the Gem Store that look better than skins in the game at times, and you can't access things in such things like raids or dungeons or fractals, etc., etc. Thoughts on skins in the Gem Store? And maybe I need to be a bit more specific with this because we could go wild here.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with mount skins, or let's start with like just the difference in skins on the store compared to in game. Is there for you? Anyone can go first, please. Like, what do you think they are comparable? Do you think the Gem Store skins are better? Do you think it's just, you know, a taste thing? Do you think it's okay how skins are sold on the Gem Store? Like, just general opinions, really, and we can bounce off of that.
I think it's important that skins are sold on the Gem Store just so that we could keep the game going. But that said, I would like some more skins to be available as exclusive things from content. Yeah. That's the summation of all I think about it.
Yeah.
So there you go. Someone else talk now.
And I feel like this conversation really does tend to dive into the mount topic, because the way I see it is that there are really cool skins on the Gem Store, and I love those. And I think it's necessary for Guild Wars 2's monetization model. However, when you look at the weapons, we get cool weapon skins in game as well, and we get cool weapon skins in the Gem Store. The problem I have is that with mounts, we don't even get basic retexturings of the mounts that we can acquire in game, and it's all left to the Gem Store. And so I feel like with the armor and the weapons, they found that nice balance where they like left the really cool stuff at the Gem Store and still filtered some cool stuff in game, but with the mount system, it really is just Gem Store. So I think that's where I kind of have more of a critical analysis to it.
Yeah, I agree with both of you, honestly. I mean, the thing is that particularly in regards to weapons, I think we have so many different things that you can get. I mean, even in the raid wings, there's usually unique weapon sets that come from those. You know, we have even talked about some of the unique weapons that they added in, and like the special effect versions that you can get in End of Dragons. There's a ton of great skins for those legendaries which exist and really are some of the most unique and most cosmetically appealing weapons in game. So I think that all of those give us really strong weapon skins that we see in game. Although, of course, not being able to dye them maybe makes it a little bit more limited in a sense. But at the same time, I think you can find something there. When it comes to gear, there are a lot of gear sets as well that are really great. And with End of Dragons, I was hoping they would add in a whole bunch of cool, new, unique, you know, pieces. And they did. And they look awesome. And there's a lot of stuff that you can get. And then, of course, on various maps, there are even the more like grindable, upgradable gears that you can get that are really beautiful, like the carapace gear and stuff like that. And then there are as well too the legendary armors that you can get. So all of those, I think, again, as far as armor go, we have a lot in there, although there have been maybe at times that I wished that they would add more regularly into the game, like PvE content where you got new cosmetics in the same vein that like sometimes, you know, in 14 we get a new dungeon, there's like a whole new set of gear for everybody that comes from that dungeon, like that kind of thing. And that's not to say that that Final Fantasy 14 doesn't also have like reusing stuff in different dungeons and all kinds of things. It's not like we get new gear 24/7 all the time. But there have been moments where maybe I've thought, oh, I'd love it if we got some more special effect pieces in the game that were just more widely out there as base pieces. But when you look at the stuff that's on the cash shop for armor specifically, I think that it is pretty balanced. Like, you have the outfits, which are really cool and cosmetic, but again, you can't do the pieces on them, so that's a limitation with them. But great if you're like making new characters and you just want like a full cosmetic, or you just really like that look. And then we have some piece sets that are on there, but again, it feels like the balance is pretty good. So yes, that does bring us to stuff like the mounts or special cosmetics that are locked behind Black Lion chests, which are their own whole thing that I'm sure we'll talk about. And I do really, really, really wish they would add something into the game where you could acquire those, especially some of these ones that they've been putting out, these Canthan ones. They are so gorgeous and they feel so appropriate to rewards for something like the strike missions or, you know, some kind of content there. So for me, I really don't think that they would be harming their sales by including a limited range of skins that you could get in game, especially if you had to engage with the content to get those skins. Like, people would do it, and I feel like they would feel even better about buying skins because players will always buy cosmetics. Literally always. But I think where you start getting maybe a negative feeling is if, like, there is no other way for them to have something, and then they start resenting a little bit that cash shop in that, like, one element, even if it's necessary.
I mean, there's always the argument that people bring up that anything at the cash shop you could technically buy for gold because of the fact that you have the gems to gold conversion or gold to gems conversion. So that's fair, but it's just, like, not as interesting as earning it in game, right? Like, to... Yeah. And I have a question, actually. How many armor sets were introduced into End of Dragons?
Ooh, good question.
This is a bit difficult because I think there were at least 3 full armor sets head to toe, but then at certain heart vendors, you get like certain pieces. Like I think the training area in Seitang, you get like wrappings for your hands and your feet, and you get like this martial, like this headband to kind of like pull your hair back. So there is a wide variety, but there was there's a decent amount in End of Dragons.
There's the 3 that you can get from the vendor. There's the 3 different ones in PvP from chests and World v World. So they're different styles, which are a bit more like less flashy. So they don't have the like the test tubey kind of, you know, camp and you know, all that kind of stuff. So
one day I would really like someone, not me because I'm too lazy, to make a list, make a spreadsheet of all of the earnable in-game skins versus the earnable in the gem store skins.
Oh, that's probably something that exists. If anyone does know it, like where that exists, then feel free to.
I just want to see like the proportion, you know.
I mean, the old way, and this may have been before Rook's time, actually. Probably, actually, it definitely was. So they started doing they changed outfit styles, like making them from being single piece, which is what you mentioned, into full one pieces, because it took them too long to do it. That is literally the reason. We obviously prefer it the old way, but they still bring it back every so often. So it kind of, I don't know. It's like ESO does it as well. They have more outfits and costumes, like whole piece things, rather than like just the little pieces as well. So I think sometimes
I would not keep. I would put outfits on a separate thing for sure.
Yeah. I think they're like. But also, I mean, it depends really. I mean, getting different armor and skins and looks, I think it can be it just depends on the person, right? Like weapons is specific. I mean, so I think the chat I was having on Twitter was based around weapons and stuff. And like having a look at like some of these weapons, for example, where is it?
Really weapons?
It was weapons, yeah. Well, because of legendaries and stuff. Yeah, the old school one. Do you remember where there was a rifle that came out? One of the first really like flashy rifles that came out was compared to like Predator, because Predator looks a little bit more like rough and rugged.
Yeah, that lightning longbow was the first time that came out. People are like, "Wow, that's nicer than Kudzu."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there's
especially
that
like
concern.
leading up to End of Dragons, I felt like when I would go on the Reddit, I would see much more of that.
Yeah.
And I think it was because under the context that the legendary weapons were going to resemble each other, I think people started to be more aware of the weapon skins coming on the gem store.
I do actually think that these new legendaries discussion aside about the research notes and everything else that we've talked about, I do think that these offer something very, very, very good, because the idea that there are so many customizable special effects sets for them gives me the sense of having, and this is part of why people were complaining, I guess, but like the idea of a Black Lion chest weapon set, right? And to me, I always liked those and wished that they were rewards in the game, because if I want something on a character that fits their aesthetic, but they don't use that weapon, and that's the only weapon that has that aesthetic from a legendary set, that used to always just drive me up the wall. Because I was like, if I want to spend all this time to do a legendary, but I really like the aesthetic of this one, and I cannot get a different version of the weapon that has that aesthetic, that makes it hard to even coordinate outfits when you're weapon swapping and all this other stuff. So for me, I was hoping that they would add something in, either where you could, through, raids, strikes, whatever, somehow over time, accumulate at possibly a very slow rate, but like Black Lion statuettes or something that you could trade for those cosmetic sets, or, those sorts of things. So this new legendary set, I think, in many ways actually does bring so much to the table, as far as here are multiple different cosmetic sets that you can get if you go through this process. And then we have some of the lower tier ones, like the Salt Spray Dragon set that has like the base version and then like water effect version and stuff like that. But I do agree that I think, especially when it comes to special effects, it would be so nice if we had a few more sets that were like more acquirable in game, that had a bunch of special effects on them, or even if they took some of those old raid weapons and then introduced a new tier where you could like convert, run it again or convert whatever currencies and then like upgrade them and get some kind of new special effect on those old skins. I think even that would be kind of a clever way to do this, but weapons are usually the area where I feel the least like I'm out of luck. I don't know. You know what I mean? I feel like there's so many options to get them and get cool aesthetics. So
during Icebrood Saga, they started to implement more weapon sets that had particle effects and auras attached to them. So there was like the bone skinner stuff that actually changed the visual of the projectile. The volcanic weapons and the storm weapons, which had like either smoke or lightning around them. And I feel like there are a few weapons that have that aesthetic to it. Now, it's subjective as to what you think looks better. But I do think that when you are comparing a very plain sword to a sword with a bunch of auras and particle effects, it does connote a sense of, heightened prestige. And I think that's what a lot of people get at, and is like, do we just want a basic sword in game? But the gem store has like this sword that's just so elegant and has a million particle effects and visually is more fancy, I guess. So, but I think, the end game I've always felt is a decent time to acquire those weapons.
Do you think do you think that if they did have the skins that kind of Rook you're talking about, Griff you're talking about, Beach you're talking about, that the desire of these things being in game, do you think the conversation would be less of an issue if they did have more skins to I guess gain through raids, like Boots was saying, and Ricky was saying as well, and also just any other way, because there is like and I'm gonna shout out, oh god, I can't remember what their Twitter is, but they're awesome streamers, a couple, on the Twitch directory, and they put out these awesome like infographic things on Twitter. On Guild Wars 2. Damn, the name is just gone.
Project Diane?
Yeah, Project Diane. They're awesome. Love those peeps. They're good peeps. But they put out some stuff recently, and again, guess what this is? This is going to be a thing. ArenaNet developers, I hope you're listening. I love you, first of all. But also, please show people the stuff in your game. Please. We've had this conversation recently. I know it will tickle your earlobes, but there is
he doesn't mean
so
with his
many...
voice, he means literally.
Thank you. There are so many skins in this game that I have not seen, and that all of you have definitely not seen either, that just are hidden. Random recipes that you can throw 4 items into the Oh my god, what Mystic Forge? My brain is like empty
Mystic
today.
Forge, yeah.
Mystic Forge
Yeah.
and just like get some epic skin that I've never seen before. Like they showed this infographic of like these 4 simple items that you could put together to make something great. And I didn't even find any on the flipping trading post either.
Did
I
you
was
know
like,
that
what?
there's like? Did you know that there's, I think at 8 or something like that, weapons there that are recipes for the Mystic Forge that use like monsoon and some other exotic weapons that just don't work. Yeah, still for some reason. There's apparently 8 that the recipes exist, but the recipes just don't. When you put them in the forge, the items disappear, but then nothing comes out.
What?
Yeah,
I hadn't heard of this.
Yeah, it's of course it's a that shaman post, but yeah, apparently it's.
Oh my gosh.
So
Some of them are still not working properly or implemented.
That's so interesting. I mean, yeah, there are many ways that you can do this, right? And even the infusions that you can earn in game or get that you can then put on weapons or buy, like there's a special effect that can be applied to many weapons. Like there are a lot of variations, and I do personally think that some of the frustration with the cash shop, there's so many things that go into this. One, I think that we are in an environment and atmosphere right now in which cash shops are incredibly predatory, and they are getting more so and more so, which makes consumers incredibly wary of them. I mean, oh my gosh, just look at Diablo Immortal. Like, I could not believe Joss Strive Hayes did a breakdown of the cash systems in that game that, like, if you are somebody who is really worried about how these games are like tricking you into stuff, like just go watch it, because there's some great breakdowns about this right now. And one of the things that I found so striking about Guild Wars 2 is that many of the things that were kind of pointed out or illustrated in that video, Guild Wars 2 does not fall prey to. And I actually do think they handle their cash shop very respectfully, all things considered. While there may be a little bit of the gimmicks with you get a free item and that takes you to the page, or there may be some little things where like they visually put that page in front of you, it is not something that pops up on login. It is not something that is required, or that currencies and major currencies on it are required to interact with the game or content. I was even reading up about Neverwinter and some of the things that they've done recently with these kinds of cash practices, where races that are considered meta races are locked in the cash shop.
Yeah, that's been a thing for ages.
Yeah, and
That's
like
bad.
behind loot boxes nonetheless. So it's like, when I look at Guild Wars 2's cash shop, I actually think that the amount of value that they deliver you in this game is exceptional. But I think that right now there is, and the way that they present their cash shop as well, while being very active, is not predatory at its core, I would say. Because you can't get all sorts of cool stuff in game, and you never ever, and you can save gold, and you can just buy stuff from it. You know what I mean? That's not to say that there aren't elements of it that aren't geared to get you there, like to get stuff from there, but I think that there's still a lot of good balance. Go ahead.
So somebody, hold on, let me check.
Thank you for putting your hand up. That could be a thing we do.
Oh, cool boy JK7 just linked a spreadsheet in chat.
Yeah.
And I assume it's correct, because who would write down these numbers without actually doing the work?
Nobody does that in the world, especially when it comes to
it looks very legit. It looks real.
Voting for people or anything like that. No one has ever done that kind of thing.
But so it gives a percentage of gem skins as a percentage of total skins in the game.
Okay.
And so for weapons, it looks like the percentages are quite low of actual gem skins. So like max of like 3% of all skins for staff, for example, are in the gem store as opposed to in game. So for weapons, it looks like it's pretty solid in the way of in-game versus gem store, even though some of them are pretty nice looking, the ones in the gem store.
But like Boot's question then, I mean, is it a comparison? I think the amount
it compares to all available in-game
yeah,
skins.
I think the question is
so there's
more
a lot of like
the quality,
nice looking ones.
It?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's the thing. It's a quality thing over. It's not the
I see what you're
availability
saying, but
of skins.
I still think the weapon skins are in a good place, because because you've got, 3%, that's ridiculously low, but also it looks like approximately only 5 to 10% are available in the gem store versus as a reward only. and reward only skins are the ones that look nicer, usually the ones that are available in game.
Well, it depends if you ask the strike community right now how they feel
Fine,
about that.
whatever.
Because like they're not happy.
But
with
then
that.
for armor skins, though, you get up to like 36% for the headpieces in a lot of cases, and it looks more like 50 to 100, to like very comparable amount in the gem store versus reward only. Like very similar numbers are reward versus gem store for armor, and then obviously for outfits, mount skins, and gliders, it's mostly in the gem store.
In the quality, I think the question mostly is quality. I think around this, I think availability in numbers. I think Guild Wars 2 does well with that, as you can see in that spreadsheet. Like maybe I'll put it in the description. Let's not pretend I'm actually going to do that. But like, it's a weird one because, and I like actually Rook, that you brought up the statuettes, because I think that statuette system actually quelled a lot of potential argument for not having things available in the future or gainable in a way where you can, because. And this ties into Black Lion Chest as well, actually, because this is actually the system that Elder Scrolls Online uses. Guild Wars 2 was just a little bit late to the party. But like, so in Guild Wars 2, and it's gonna link to it.
I was just gonna say that I don't know if Guild Wars 2 is late to the party, because ESO, what I think you're about to say, had those practices until recently when they then put something in for it. So it's not like they started out really good.
It's a different system.
Okay.
It's been around for years and years. But so in ESO, there's a system where if you buy crates, so Elder Scrolls Online store is a massive ripoff. Well, I am in the stream team, which is very similar to ArenaNet. Partner program is this identical thing. It's just Elder Scrolls Online. I am very genuine and authentic about my opinions. I don't bullshit. I hate the store. I think it's the worst. But that's an aside thing. I think things are very expensive in there. I think some things are expensive in Guild Wars 2, but you can earn them in game. And technically, to a degree, in ESO there's a newer thing which you can, but it's not the same. But basically, you get these items from the crates. They're called crates in ESO, which is comparable to a Black Lion chest. And you get an item, and basically you can trade stuff you don't like for gems. Now, gems in ESO are basically exactly the same as what statuettes are in Guild Wars 2. Is Black Lion chests when you open them, but you actually get the statues when you open the box. Whereas in ESO, you trade items you don't want from the crates for gems. So then you can go to this place and you can buy the things which are actually in the crates that you actually want. But the more you have, the more gems you have, the better. And obviously, you've got to keep buying the things. And obviously, the things are worth a lot of gems, so you're still spending a lot of money. Statuettes as well in Guild Wars 2, you can get them from a few different places. So it is similar, and Guild Wars 2 did introduce this later. And also, it gave you the opportunity to get older stuff and stuff that's rotated out of the Black Lion chest as well, that you may not have ever seen before. Like this season 1 stuff that came back, there was loads of old stuff that comes back, and if you missed like a back piece, that was very cool, and it was a very, very low risk drop. Oh wow, okay, they've actually got like some of these things. Oh, that's very cool. Sorry, the Hydra stuff, which is wonderful, which I got from Black Lion chest, felt really good about getting, is now in there as well. And like some of these other cool skins, again, these are still things which you have to technically pay for. Whoa, that is ridiculous. What is that?
Oh yeah, that's so cool. I want it, by the way.
Sorry,
I'm
selling the gem store.
Yeah.
That one.
Did you
I
see
actually
that?
have it. I have it on one character. It was
It is
Wow.
probably
It was
the
huge.
best. It's the best skin in game.
It's so cool.
So nice.
What is
Yeah.
it?
It's like a
the
phoenix
torch.
tail, a phoenix tail
That's
feather
so
kind of thing.
good. Sorry.
It's a
Yeah, the
torch,
staff
it's a
is great.
torch.
I've got that. Yeah,
That's really
torch. But that is a perfect example. Like all of us just went, like literally sat up, leant forward, leant into the game, and we're like, whoa, how many good torches are out there in Guild Wars 2? Not
There's
many.
only this one.
Like
There's this one in Rod. I like Rod Gord, but it's not as good as this one.
I
think I might
love
get
this
that.
torch. And there's like war horns and other torches where it's not actually a weapon. It's just
Yeah.
like energy around your hand. And I
Yes.
love that idea of like a true like spellcaster where you're not really wielding anything. You're just using like, the raw magic. So some of the war horn and torch skins are like top tier.
I mean, the torch. I mean, I'll get us back. I'm gonna keep going with what I was talking about. Sorry, because I know, like, the skin. We can talk about the skins. The skins are wonderful in the game, but this whole system is another way of making. Because I want to get onto Black Lion chests, is making like the value of Black Lion chests go up, so it feels basically less shitty. Like, and so in the future, you're like, well, at least I have statuettes, and I can get this thing potentially in the future. Thing that ESO did recently, which is what Rook's talking about, is these things called endeavors, where you do daily things, you can do weekly things, monthly things, whatever, and you get this currency where you can spend it in essentially its own version of like it's like a mini shop. It's not the same shop, but you can buy some of the same stuff, and it's quite cool. Again, you have to do a lot of things, so it's a way of getting you to play the game. Essentially, it's a good
I
idea.
just like-
It
but
exists in Guild Wars 2, right?
that doesn't exist in Guild Wars 2.
Why not? Map completion.
That's not the same. I mean,
Map.
It is-
that's a
When you complete a
chance,
map,
though.
you have a 50% chance of getting a Black Lion key.
It's not the same though, because in endeavors is like you go and Rook, you explain. Sorry.
Yeah. So pretty much what's happening that's different. No, I got you.
I know
Is
what
that,
it
like-
is. You're just more eloquent than me.
It's like, okay, so map completion allows you to open a chest, right? Because you get the key. Whereas this endeavor system in ESO allows you to complete little fun bonus daily quests. And honestly, I think they're cute. Like, there's
I like
stuff that
them.
you might do, kill this, like 5 of this kind of enemy, do this kind of thing, do this little thing, gather this many things. So it just gives you a little bit of something extra to aim for as you kind of structure your day, which I really like. And then you essentially get what is the currency for those chests. So like what would be black lion statuettes in this kind of metaphor, so that you can buy exactly what you want from the chest.
Right, okay.
So like you can go into this shop interface that Jebro is talking about and like say you saved up because you know in these one kinds of chests there is this mount skin you have wanted for ages. You can do your endeavors, save it all up, and then the next time those go on, you can just buy that thing directly. This is honestly... Oh, go ahead.
What's the, like, how much of this endeavor stuff do you have to do in order to get something really prized?
A lot.
Yeah,
A lot.
it's a
So
lot.
then how is
Yeah.
that different from
It's like
just
statuettes.
then how is that different from map completion for Black Lion keys and then just using the statuettes?
Sure.
So the big difference is certainty. So you don't 100% get the Black Lion chest key, whereas
But you-
if you do the
You 100%
endeavors,
50% though, come on.
What? That doesn't make any sense.
It's a 50% chance. It's like really high.
No, that's
Yeah.
not hot, but it's not a. So there's a difference between 50% chance and 100% chance.
Is there?
It's 50% difference.
Whoa.
But like this is
You're
like,
right.
but this is a daily thing. It's a simple thing.
Technically, there's 100% difference because one is guaranteed. and one is not.
It's not. It's not.
Well-
but the. Go on.
Well, I will say this, Boots, I actually think you make a very astute point, right? Even if you look at grinding for gold to just buy stuff on the gem store, right? Like there is not that kind of conversion system in ESO.
No.
So already Guild Wars 2 has essentially given you what would be the equivalent of something like an endeavor grind. Just you grind the gold in the game and then you just buy the gems. So like I agree with you in that sense, even though we can't individually go in right now and buy a specific item unless, as Jebro has said, it's been moved into that like category where you can go and buy individual things now from those vendors with Black Lion. I agree that like the big differentiation is the fact that like, yes, if you grind for those keys, then you're going to get the loot box and that's going to be a chance. Again, it's like a chance on a chance, right? But I do think Guild Wars 2 has structures in place already to negate some of that. And I will say, having experienced both Black Lion chests and the crates in ESO, while Jeb, I love the point that you made, and I think they should do this in Guild Wars 2, where like, if you get duplicates of something, or you get something that you don't want, or you then get currency. One of the big problems in ESO is that even though you would get currency, it would be a literal seventh of the actual
Oh, yeah,
cost of the item
absolutely.
were you to buy it.
Yeah,
So like
not good.
you would exchange in an item that was like super high value, top tier, and get nothing. And then if you were to try and like buy that item from the shop itself, you'd have to pay like quadruple the amount. So it's like I do think Guild Wars 2 could be better about it, but I do think a lot of times as well the Guild Wars 2 community just
Well, they don't know what they've got, actually. That's
yeah,
the thing.
sometimes.
So I've logged into ESO. I know we're in the Guild Wars 2 category, but like I've logged into ESO for comparison. By the way, my point isn't saying that one is better than the other. It's just to bring in different things and different ways of kind of thinking about it. And systems that are good, but I feel can be a little bit dodgy as well. Like for example, so Reader Geek asks us a question like these. So these are the top tier mounts in the crates which you get from. So like the equivalent Black Lion chest, and it costs, this one is 16,000 endeavors, and I have 690 right now. I don't do dailies daily. I don't play ESO daily either. I've only started recently because they've got a new chapter out, High Isle, blah, blah. And this is the system. So like you've got different things that you can grab, like you can grab different skins in the game, stuff like that. But then you've got the actual store, and then you can grab the crown crates, which are here. I need to work out the crown costs, the crowns $2, and then compare that to Guild Wars 2. That's not something I'm going to do right now. But then this is the currency for gems, and gems is something I have a lot of because I have crates because of my sub to the game, which I get for free with my sub, free, doing that, inverted commas. And then you can spend gems here. So this is essentially the statuettes section of the store, which isn't too bad, but it's still, you do still need a lot for like a mount skin or something. But you can buy everything other than, actually every single thing you can buy in there now. They've actually got everything from the crates that you can buy in there. They've got some new crates coming out soon as well. We'd be interested to see that, but it's like potions and stuff. So all of this stuff you can trade in for gems, and then you can buy bits and bobs. There's like emotes, there's loads of other stuff. You know, it's its own thing, and it is interesting. And then also because you are a sub, you can get money off of things like. So ESO Plus is the thing. You can get deals, like you can get a couple of 100 crowns off of things like pets, or like you get free statues and you get free fun stuff every so often, which is, you know, one-offs, but it's okay. It's not like the best stuff in the world. And then when you pay for ESO Plus, you get all the DLC for free, other than the latest couple of chapters recently. But that's something else we've been talking about in Guild Wars 2, like an optional sub, but that's another conversation.
Based on the wiki, it looks like it's not a 1 in 2 chance. It's more like a 1 in 3 chance for a.
It's very. It is more rare because I definitely haven't been getting keys as much doing map completion recently as I would like, for sure. But it is free, and it is a way of getting it for free. So I thought that was relevant to show.
Also, apparently, you can't get a key drop if you're doing a level 80 map when you're not level 80.
Really? Oh, that's
what I just
interesting.
found out.
So sad.
That is sad, actually. That's a bit sad.
Yeah, I don't know. Like loot boxes, I've never had like really harsh feelings towards them, but I don't know. I feel like they're starting to become more of a thing of old design,
Right.
because I know that Overwatch 2 is actually getting rid of their loot boxes and instead going to a battle pass system. And I think having something more transparent and structured to the point where you know what you're getting, that seems to be where people are leading, especially because there were a bunch of laws created around loot boxes and the sentiment of gambling. And it really, I don't know, I don't have strong emotions, but seeing the other routes that games can take, I'm like, oh yeah, loot boxes maybe they are a little weird. I don't know. They're just kind of.
I know, Kroof. Like you don't really have, like you're not that. You're
not that impassioned by it,
yeah. Well, same. I think I agree. Like I'm not like, I think people. Here comes this opinion again. I do have an opinion. I think Guild Wars 2 is great for access to for people to play the game. If you want to pay a lower amount of money to play an MMORPG, Guild Wars 2 is like, whoa, value for money, boom. Access to content, fantastic. barring maybe the living story, depending on whether or not there's a sale and they're giving it
Oh
away
yeah,
for
when
free.
are we gonna?
Cool. But
When are
like,
they gonna do that?
well, we'll talk about that later. But like, it's the problem. The problem they have. Oh wow, it's just completely disappeared out of my head. I think that often there's times where I think like, damn it, Boots.
I'm so good
Damn
at that,
it,
by the
Boots.
way. I'm so
Damn it,
good
Boots.
at making you forget what you were gonna say.
Oh my god, it was a very, very good point. Oh damn, it'll come back to me anyway. We'll move on.
Could've been
It's
that
about
good
loot
if you
crates.
forgot it.
Loot crates. Think. It's gonna be fine. Loot crates. Kroof was having a point about talking about the things. Cool.
Good value for
That's
money.
okay.
Guild Wars
Yes.
2.
But also like countries do have like an opinion about loot crates. Like they are banned in countries. Like games are banned in countries because of the availability of them, and also it does encourage kind of. I mean, it really, really depends in Guild Wars 2 because gambling is a thing. Like encouraging gambling and then paying money for things to do that is like
It's not like Mystic Coin gambling or Mystic Forge gambling. It has a little bit more of a serious
Ecto gambling.
Because my good friend Smudgem might be in chat. Hi, Smudgem. They really enjoy a lot of the cosmetics, and sometimes they come to me and they're like, "I just spent like 25 keys trying to get this one thing, or like 30 keys, and then another thing they're like, I got it in 2 tries." So it does have a level of RNG, which then might, incentivize some aspect of unhealthy practices for players. But it does, you reflect and take inventory of yourself, and if you think that you are susceptible to it, try your best to stay away from it. But it is a little bit difficult.
Yeah, I mean, like someone just said. I'm going to call it out because you said it in chat, and that's fine. I think $170 on gems, and I get yes. Then like
And now
people
say
will
the name of the person.
No, I was then like there is there's so many things behind this, and it's difficult to just talk about this in a small smidgen part of the podcast. But like we do have the responsibility of like managing our own money, but then there are real things. There are predatory things out there in the world. I.e. what kind of Rookery said about like Diablo Immortal is one of those things. Like, where you are encouraged to spend money in games so that people can earn a living. And obviously to ridiculous levels, like obviously Activision Blizzard is another level, ArenaNet, we know that with their reputation as a company, and this is where you have to look at the company as a whole and the ethos and the vibe that they're trying to create and what they put out there on social media and their belief systems and everything else, is that, I'm okay with this system only because I know the people, I know the company, and I am fairly confident in knowing the fact that, they're not doing this to try and screw people over. But there is the underneath idea and thought process of they are trying to make money, and that is what this business is about. Like it is about that, but you have to be I would rather there not be any loot chests in any game ever. I hate loot crates with a fucking passion. I think they are the spawn of Satan. Well, Satan's cool. The spawn of something that's very crap. The spawn of something you don't like. Everyone think about the thing you don't like, and it's the spawn of that. If it's your parents, that's fine.
Honestly, it's one of those things for me where, like you said, Jeb, I don't believe that Guild Wars 2 at its core is predatory. Like many of the things that have been like pointed out about predatory systems, right? Forcing you to look at the gem store upon login. These would be the things that would constitute this, right?
Yeah.
Selling gems in such increments and then setting prices for various things on the store in which you have to either massively overspend to be able to get the things in the increments that you would want, or that is a thing that they do. Putting free stuff on the store so that you get dragged there, and then having all these other things. While Guild Wars 2 does give you free things in the store sometimes, I genuinely feel like more often than not, that is just a nice way for them to give something back. And again, because Guild Wars 2's other methodologies, like yes, they want to get people's eyes there, but because it isn't forced in your face at every opportunity, it feels far less terrible than, like, we've talked a lot about ESO, and I really think it's because ESO's cash shop model is maybe the most similar, both in the actual like type of stuff, having a chest system, but then also in like the amount of like balance of how many of certain things are in the cash shop versus what's in the game. And I think ESO even takes it a step further with a lot of that too, because you can get a lot of stuff from ESO in game, but there are many things that are also like pretty well developed on the cash shop and only the cash shop. So to say all of that, like, I just think that like overall the cash shop is not that predatory. I would love if they removed the loot chest thing, because it is like this one weird little hang on, and I'd almost rather that to make up for that money, they get rid of the Black Lion chest thing and then just do this optional sub that we've been talking. Like, I mean, you don't have to make it mandatory whatsoever. You can give certain perks for it.
How would it work? Like, think of all the things in the loot in the Black Lion chest. How would you do it?
Go back to every single podcast we've done where we talked about this. But I mean, we can do it. It could be a general question. I don't mind talking about that.
This also might be an issue of how you brand something. So many games, MMOs, were very used to the name of subscription, but many games are now slanting it towards a seasonal pass, where when you are doing economic funding, when you're signing up for something, you are getting these guaranteed rewards. And much like a sub in, I'm imagining ESO, you are guaranteed some amount of reward or some reduction in prices. So if you just formatted it in the method of a more traditional seasonal pass, where you get gems, you get a little bit of extra stuff here and there, and whenever you play and log in, you can get these cooler skins. Maybe that's one way to transfer all of the unique items that are in Black Lion chests into a more
moving forward at least.
I like that. Like, you reckon you could have sorry, go on.
Oh, no, I was gonna say to jump the gun, because there are like some unique individual skins that can only be obtained via the Black Lion chest. Not just like a weapon collection where you get claim tickets, but like purely by opening the Black Lion chests, you can only get those skins. If that was instead a seasonal pass, you would have to purchase a seasonal pass, and then at day 15, it then automatically unlocks for everyone or something.
You mean the battle pass, right?
Yeah.
Man, is there an MMO which does a battle pass right now, like an actual battle pass?
I don't think
Destiny 2 would be the closest, I would say. And Destiny 2
they've got one.
Of an MMO, but yeah, I would say it's an MMO, but it's a looter shooter really.
I think you're right.
Yes, they do have a battle pass system. Destiny 2 also really interestingly is also doing temporary seasonal event content.
Yeah, that stuff.
It's like they've gone back to what Guild Wars 2 released with. I'm like, it's amazing. But I actually think it works better in something like Destiny 2 because of the more transient nature of looter shooters. Versus something like a long-term story, that an investment that an MMO presents. But they do have a battle pass now, and there are like tiers of it, and you get access to certain things and certain rewards, and it'll show you like right in the menu, like this is what you get without, this is what you get with, this is what. And I do actually like that idea. I think overall more so than I do. Having like all these loot chest systems. I've never really had a huge problem with it in Guild Wars 2 just because of the sheer variety of other things, and the fact that stuff like mount packs, even, you can get a slightly more expensive version that will let you just pick what you want or stuff like that, But I have had a problem with it in games like ESO, where a single house on the store can cost you over 150 real US dollars. And it's unbelievable. There are so many things. I could do a whole podcast just about
housing market's insane right now.
The housing market.
Price things, property.
It is
but
sadness.
The thing is that I do know friends that have had to stop playing even Guild Wars 2 because the cash shop wasn't affordable for them. Granted, that is something where, you have to kind of, again, take stock with yourself. But overall, I feel like Guild Wars 2 offers you so many options that it isn't, again, the end all be all. But having something like a battle pass, I think, would give more direction. So long as it wasn't a weird thing, kind of like I think Diablo Immortal has some kind of equivalent right now as well, except that you are
It has like 8 battle passes, I think. It has 8 different concurrent battle
Wait,
passes.
what does? What does?
Diablo Immortal.
Immortal, and it's awful. Like you have to log in. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but like you have to log in every single day of it, or you don't get the rewards. So like it's like a month or something, right? So if you log in every day for the month, like Lord forbid you got to go on vacation, or like you get sick one weekend and you can't log in, and you don't log in.
Right?
Yeah, and like you don't log in for that one day, then you do not get the rewards at the end. So you could have spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours meeting whatever requirements for this thing, and then you don't log in one day, and then the only way to get the rewards that you were guaranteed for spending the money on the pass in the first place is to then get another month of the subscription. And so then you have to get another month because you missed one day.
Yeah.
And then you get the rewards from the last month. But then if you miss one more day in the next month, then you got to do the same thing again.
So forever you're trying to catch up, yeah.
Yes.
I have a question.
So,
That's the worst.
terrible.
I have a question about battle passes for Guild Wars 2 specifically. I'd be okay with it. I'd be okay with them moving from the Black Lion chest to the battle passes. But we're talking about battle passes that would be buyable by gems, right? Not so that you can still do it with gold.
I mean, you could probably just buy it straight out, I guess, as well.
Well,
I guess
A lot of battle pass systems have it to where there are two tiers. One that you pay real world money for, and you get more rewards with each increment. And then there's oftentimes a free battle pass tracker for people who play for free. And you get vastly less rewards at less interval. So you're still getting something, which incentivizes you to log in and play. But I think I know I play Apex Legends and they go with that, and so I still feel incentivized to log in to get those free rewards. But sometimes I look and see the battle pass where you pay like $5 or however much for, and I'm like, ooh, you do get a lot more, and those skins look nice, and it is guaranteed if I play.
Yeah. The only issue is that, like, so I mean, I guess if it's the same stuff that's in the Black Lion chest, it's not a big issue because I like the idea that the Black Lion chest I just don't have to interact with at all if I didn't want to. So like I'm happy not buying any Black Lion chests ever. And that's what I do. And then when I get a Black Lion key as a reward, I'm happy about that. So I get to participate in it at my own leisure if I'm lucky and find it in game. But with the battle pass, I suppose that wouldn't be able to happen because you wouldn't get a battle pass drop from any rewards probably, right?
I mean,
yeah. Unless like there was a chance that, like, say that they didn't completely do away with Black Lion chests and then they made them like part of some of the tiers or something. Like, I mean, I think they'd have to tweak things, right? So like I could see them doing something like that where, like, you know, because I think this is in Destiny 2, they also will have something where it's like you open up a box and there's like a chance of 5 different things in it or something. So like you could have something kind of like that could be part of the incentives that then, like, yeah, maybe somebody could still get for free and that could kind of introduce you, or like you'd have a way to just get that one thing. But yeah, I mean, I engage about the same way you do, Boots, with when it comes to Black Lion. But I know that many other people don't. So like for me, I think I would rather lose my little moments in the wild where I'm like, oh, a key, yay! And like I think I would rather lose that and like just get direct rewards for like playing through the track even as like a free player and going, hey, what can I do? Oh, I only need this much. Okay, great. Well, then I'll do that next time, or like, you know, or whatever that would entail versus like the loot boxes still being in game.
Yeah, okay, fair. That's fair.
that is a good call out as well. The plunder pass. So Rift apparently does do a battle pass, which is, but Rift, like Triumph back in the day, was like switched their model and they just royally screwed over themselves. Unfortunately, they went for that money grab, cash grab before they drifted away.
Wow.
Oh, that was pretty bad.
That was good. It wasn't bad.
The game was great, and like they just were like, "Yep, we need money." All of a sudden, now you can buy power. It was like, oh, really? It was upsetting because the game was genuinely amazing. Some of the best raiding I've ever played. Oh my god, I miss that so much. But one of the best battle passes out there is actually Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves battle pass is so good because it's free. Like it's just, and what the free bit which you were talking about, Kroof. But you know how you get on the top layer, the free one, I wonder if I can find a picture of it. I'll try and find a picture of it. You can get free things for every level in the Sea of Thieves one, and all you pay for extra are the skins, like every 5 or 6 levels. They're very cool skins, but they're not like, you know, forcing you to buy it, because really playing the game is the reward, obviously, because Sea of Thieves is very much about the experience built in the game. It's not about building power or anything. It's about playing the game and getting the skins and looking cool, but also the PvP and just the general awesomeness of the game, because it's great. Sorry, I like Sea of Thieves a lot. And it's just a really, really good way of getting people to encourage people to play the game, be in the game, and then to, you know, think about earning money in terms of, you know, other ways, you know, but just also having a player base, like, and
So
rather than not just thinking about like cash and money, I guess.
How does that work then, though? Like, you play through the battle pass, and then at certain opportunities, when you've put in enough hours, you unlock the opportunity to buy something with real money?
I'm explaining it wrong. Like, so you know how you've got.
I was like,
You know what?
Jebro.
Maybe it is better that you explain stuff to boots.
No. So there is like.
I don't think that is
I think
good,
I explained
though,
it to
because
Kroof.
that seems predatory.
I explained it to Kroof, like Kroof knows what I'm talking about in terms of battle passes. So you've got the free version. If you know battle passes well, like you've got the free version on top, and underneath you get the paid version, which is the extra rewards you get. So in Sea of Thieves, the free version is really good. Like, it's not like, you know, you can get skins, you can get money, you can actually get
Real world money?
I think you can get like tokens for the store as well, or something as well. But like, you can get really genuinely good skins. But if you pay for the other one, which is about $10, you get extra stuff. You get extra bits. So like, but the thing is, the value is worth it if you want the extra skins, I guess. Like, it's okay. But like the free version, the free battle pass, which gets you to come into the game and play it a bit like dailies, which is what MMOs do, because dailies are basically like an MMORPG's way of doing it. Like, they went from dailies to battle passes. That's what Fortnite did. Like, but they encompass dailies into the battle pass because to actually fill up the stars. That's what the system is. It's fucking ridiculous. But like, that's how it evolved. Yeah, it just evolved to a battle pass. That's what dailies are. If they did that in Guild Wars 2, rather than just logging in every day, because you can log in like every day, and sure, you get dailies where you get rewards, but like other things in the game which are more difficult to do, like playing the game for a certain amount of time. And I guess like there are so many dailies in Guild Wars 2, essentially you're in the game for like days anyway, trying to complete a daily because there's so damn many. I guess I like the idea of a battle pass. I think battle passes are fun and cool and awesome and enjoyable to a point, as long as they're not too ridiculously expensive. And you're doing a finger thing, Kroof. I know I kind of rambled a bit.
I just saw Boots' face shift. I said,
Why? What happened? What
shared
did
experience.
What did the face shift to?
It went from
nothing.
No shit. Talk about what you're thinking and feeling. I know I
Well,
rambled
just because
and didn't
sometimes I
explain
listen
things.
to you and then I react to the things you say.
But what did
That's
you
true
react
active
to?
listening, Jebro. Active listening.
Active listening.
Yeah, but like active
I
listening.
think it was that when you said
Okay,
it.
I will
So
tell you. Yeah.
active
When you
listening
said,
goes hand
when
in
you
hand
said
with
there
responses.
are so many dailies in Guild Wars 2 that it takes you a full day to do a daily.
No, it takes you more than it takes you a
You're like,
couple
it
of
takes
days
you a
to do
long
it.
time. I'm like,
Like, it takes you a couple of days to do a daily. It was a joke. It was a bad
Yeah.
joke.
oh, was it a joke?
That's a bad joke. It's English cynicism. Like, come on. Being
Oh my
pedantic.
god.
That's good stuff.
Sometimes I remember that like I'm there's not many British people here, and I get it. So sometimes the things flow over the head. It's okay.
What's your mean, bro? I'm British.
That's the thing.
I'm just a pedantic bastard.
But
And
yeah,
also
I mean, I
sometimes I do
do.
chat shit as well. It's true.
I do think that overall Guild Wars 2 gives you plenty of options. I agree. I mean, we pointed out right at the start, I think that you should be able to get mount skins and stuff like that in game.
Yeah.
I find it very strange that you can't, to be honest. I think that in a game that's very fair in many ways and how it deals with everything else, it's a very strange thing that these mount skins are still, for some reason, tied specifically to Black Lion.
I do
Like-
want to talk about that once you're done. Sorry, continue.
Oh, I mean, go ahead if you want. I mean, go ahead.
Well, I'm
moving
gonna
forward,
can I just say one thing? We're gonna cut the burnout section out of this podcast because I don't want to go
Sure.
on till the end
because
of
we
time.
don't want to.
Burnout.
Well,
There
we're
you
gonna
go.
burn this.
Wow.
We're gonna burn out on this conversation first before we do
That's right.
anything else. Continue.
Yeah. So okay, let's say right now Arena really wants to put mount skins as rewards in game. How do they do it without making portions of the player base upset? Because they've held out for so long putting them in game as rewards in game. Wherever they start putting them is gonna be the guardian of ArenaNet's content, right? They're gonna be like, okay, they care so much about this particular content, that's why they're putting this as a reward in this content, and it's gonna make everybody else upset. So how are they gonna put it in as a reward in the game without making everybody who doesn't play that content upset?
I mean,
I
like,
just loved Curve's face. That was good.
I think I have a mentality of like, you cannot please everyone. That
I mean,
doesn't
I
you shouldn't
agree.
try to please
I
some
agree,
people. You know what
but
I mean, just
but
because you're not
where are they
going
gonna put it?
to, just because I'm not going to affect everyone's lives, doesn't mean I shouldn't try to affect some people's lives.
Aw.
And I think there are ways, to make it less painful. Maybe like cycle through. You like one month you add a mount skin to a strike mission. 1 month you do it to a fractal, or 1 month you give it to a PvP reward track or something, or I don't know.
Would it be the same skin or different skins?
It could be different skins because that would also incentivize people to try out different content.
There you go. That's good.
I think it would be smart. If I haven't gone into PvP for a long time, but if they introduced a reward track or a vendor to PvP where if you played a lot of games and had those ascended shards or whatever from ranked modes and you could purchase a unique mount skin from PvP, I'd be like, you know what? Hey, I'm more incentivized to play PvP.
So really, it sounds like they can't just put one mount skin in the game as a reward. They need to put one mount skin of each type in as a reward for each type of content.
I think that would be nice. I don't think it would need to drop all at once, but just something for, the higher ups to keep in mind is like, you don't want all of the rewards to be focused into one specific thing. I think that is smart what you pointed out, but we have a lot of mount skins in game already, and I think some of the mount skins that you can buy on the gem store might not really be, if, in my opinion, I wouldn't pay gems for some of the mount skins, like the ones where they are just simply increasing the dye channel options that you have and give you a slight different texture, but it's the same model, no effects. I think some of those would be more akin to what I would like to see earnable in Guild Wars 2, but it's a live service game, so it doesn't have to be
Conversely-
solved in one go.
Conversely, probably the best solution would be to put all earnable mount skins as rewards from dungeons.
Okay, Bruce.
If you really wanted to resurrect dungeons, that would surely be one way to do
There
it.
you
I
go.
mean, look, they already did a little patcharoony on dungeons.
And
that I was
now-
really
Exactly.
surprised.
I think it's in preparation for this.
I think.
Right, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think if people think they are trying to revive dungeons with that patch they put in, I think they will be sorely mistaken.
I mean,
I did. You know what? I'm playing more dungeons than I ever have before.
Yeah, but why?
Because
Yeah,
you have
but
skins.
which dungeons? Do you,
Skins,
I can,
Jebro.
I can give you.
I mean,
I can give you the.
Here's the
reason.
thing, though. I genuinely don't care which dungeon. I've seen people be
Yeah,
like, but
yeah,
this
yeah.
means that this dungeon's going to die. I'm sorry, that was maybe more. That was
Wow. Oh my
I'm
goodness.
sorry.
Yeah,
for
Rook has
me-
some very severe reactions and
I'm
emotions
sorry.
from these people.
I guess. Okay. I guess I should explain. I know
No,
why
Rick,
people.
no judgment. That's you can do
I
that.
feel
You're
you.
just
No, but
having a
I-
laugh. You're not being hard. Like you just.
I know,
you're doing a thing.
but
It's okay.
I personally want to clarify because I know that dungeons do matter to people and that they have a spot in people's hearts, and that
But they sound
they're-
like that.
yes, but that they
Pretty good
also,
impression though.
but that there was potential with that kind of mode, but truly, really, we are 3x packs in now. they are not doing more dungeons. The dungeons are done. They did not do it. They did not do them after the first expansion. They have not done them ever since. They have not done anything. And it seems like constantly we get new stuff, new content, new things in this game, great new horizons, great story, and people still come in like, but they still didn't do dungeons. And like,
they don't do that.
They
do.
100% do
I've
that.
gotten many comments on my videos, on reviews, and they're like, I really wanted dungeons. And I'm like, when was the last time you played Guild Wars 2?
Didn't we get mini dungeons though in Into Dragons?
Yes, and I love those, like the little
open
mini ones
world.
in the open world. Yeah, like the thing is that I understand why they mattered to people, but I also think we have to move on. It is content they chose not to develop, and there were many reasons for it. And I've seen people even since with this currency chain be so upset because they're like, now this dungeon will never be run. And I'm like, it is dead content that they are not actively developing.
You're like, y'all, you
It
gotta
is
let it go.
literally like three people in a corner, just like on a leaderboard of different characters, just like timing themselves. And whereas like, and I get like people, it's true, Rick, you're right. You know, the reason they do it. Because I'm not going to say the word. It's not
No,
right.
and it's,
But like, I know what you mean.
is that I don't want to undermine why people love it because I know that you do, but at the same time, boy howdy does it just draw back the energy always in a way that does not even need to be said or voiced or done. Like, this is not content they are going to develop. We have to accept that. So with this currency change that came so unexpectedly, what I wanted to say about it is the fact that I have seen Kroof, just like you said, more people than ever wanting to do dungeons. And like, if you get people in the door because they realize, hey, this one I could never get cues for, this one that I could never figure out, this one that I could never do, but now I can get the gear I wanted from it. Like, you might even see those players engaging with this in a way that they haven't, wanting to try the other dungeons to get the story. Like, they changed a lot of stuff here with this in a small way, but like in a way that I think was important. So all of this to say, no, I don't think they should put mount skins in
that's
dungeons.
what I was wondering. You don't think that?
Because
you don't think that?
Also, you don't really get mounts in the core game anyway, so.
no. So like, I just like, I don't
What
think
if they
that
were
should
only
be a
usable
thing.
in the dungeons? Like a new mount only
my
usable
God.
I think I
in
don't even need to
dungeons?
look at your face right now. And I can just hear in your voice what you're trying to do.
I actually commented that. I was streaming dungeons and I was like, it's so good that I can't mount up in a dungeon. I was so used to mounting up. Anyway.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, I see in here they locked armored story completion of dungeons. So like you still have to at least set foot in and like get the, you know.
have to do the story.
Yeah, I think that was so smart as a way as well to like empower players that are new to the game and in the core story to engage with those dungeons and then get something nice cosmetically for their returns, because let's be real, core game armor is a little rough. Like, it's just a little rough in spots.
Yeah.
And so to have the actual armor and
like
stuff
it.
from the dungeons, okay, I'm glad that you
We'll
like
just say
it,
it's
Jebro.
aging.
It's
I don't know,
aging,
it's
perhaps.
realistic fantasy rather than like.
Yes, it's different in design.
I like the design, but the pixels are pixelating. The pixels are pixelating.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know what you're trying to say. I'm just taking it.
No, but Jebro, you're right.
Look at the
And
face.
like, there are people who will like that style more, right? Or like that kind of more realistic fantasy, medieval fantasy. They don't want to be Rainbow Sparkle Barf like me, and I accept that. But yeah, I think that there are many
Your
ways
character's
to
amazing.
do this.
Sorry.
There are many, thank you. There are many ways to do this. I even saw in chat the suggestion of like release the same skin, but kind of like how we have the variants now for Oreen. Make like different variants that have, you know, minor cosmetic whatever for different game modes.
Yeah.
So like you could release a whole set across the board for different game modes, but have again these minor variations. Or I don't know. I think that Kroof, what you said makes the most sense to me. Release them here or there into the game. Make them achievements for a variety of things. I mean, you could even put one behind newer map completion, like complete all the maps in a new expansion. There you get a mount. Like that would be like I think that would be a good compromise to reach both from casual to hardcore. And honestly, the raids are already really accessible. If this was a currency-based thing, right? You don't even have to clear a boss to still get currency. So you can go in and you can just try to the best of your abilities and, you know, you'll still get some return, which I think a lot of people don't realize because it's very different than other MMOs. So if they did something like that, again, I think it would still be accessible. Of course, if you locked it behind something like the challenge modes of strikes, that would be really rewarding if it was gorgeous and it was like a really great skin. But of course, that would be for end game players as a reward, and you would have to do that. And I think that's also valid, you know?
True.
Yeah, I think them doing the whole currency thing, like you said, Dungeons is a dead mode. People don't stream it, people don't play it, people don't. And yeah, sure, there's gonna be a little bit of insurgence of gameplay for Dungeons, like when they change the currency, because obviously now I have 3,000. So if you don't know context, they changed. When you do especially if you're a newer player, or if you're a player who's never really engaged in dungeons much, and you haven't had to farm a specific rune, is it monk rune? Which I think I've farmed that so much, which is a healing support rune, which is only available in the dungeon or by maybe getting rid of some armor or whatever. And
what are they gonna do with the dungeon reward tracks for PvP and War vs. World?
They're still the same.
This is the same. They just changed the currency. That's literally all they do.
I guess.
Yeah,
all right.
But like,
it seems less interesting. Sorry.
I will forget what I'm talking about, which is what I just did. But like, so what they did is they changed all the miniature currencies, the currency you have for specific dungeons. So it was like Ascalonian tiers or whatever. It wasn't. But like you would have a dungeon currency for a dungeon. They just made it so it's just one currency across the whole thing, which is good because now people can go and do one dungeon, they can farm that, and they can get the items from others. It's going to be just really mainly for the skin looks, which they can unlock as well. It gives more access to skins, which we've been talking about to a degree as well with the Black Lion chest. It kind of goes back there. And to get things like rune sets, because there is rune sets in here. There's aristocracy, there's monk, there's other things which are pretty good, and might be more available in the future as well, in new metas and stuff as well. It opens up a little bit more access to different things, different runes and stuff which people may not have had access to before. But yeah, it's in the long run, it's not going to increase dungeon participation that much. It's just easier to get some stuff you need. And it will do in the future. I would love them to do dungeons. I've always loved dungeons. I thought dungeons were great. I didn't think they needed to not have them. I just don't think they fully fleshed that one out for some reason. I think time was a thing as well. Like, it was just like, they were great and they were good and they were fun, but I don't think the systems were there. I don't think they had the... I still think, and we can talk about this, Criff, one day we will do an LFG podcast. Yes. I promise you. But like, an LFG is like, and this is going way off topic, so I'm going to stop it in a second. But like, LFG was like one of the main things which, is probably the reason that isn't a thing. And
one of the reasons, yeah. I think probably also Ascended Gear is another reason. Because they wanted to introduce Ascended Gear into the game, and they did it later after the game was released, right? They did it, to give something people to do at level 80, and in order to give Ascended Gear to people, they made fractals, and they chose to make fractals essentially mini dungeons, and that just kind of
dungeons. They're dungeons.
I mean, we know
they're dungeons, but they're smaller than dungeons. They're mini dungeons.
Yeah, the initial design of dungeons, I feel, was too grand for, a consistency.
Well, no, I think that's fair, but I think more than that, I think it's the reward system is the issue with dungeons, and it's because they had a specific reward system that they introduced for dungeons, and you get special armor, you get special weapons, and each one is like in their own little pocket, right? Now it's changed, obviously, but they were all in their own little pockets.
Yeah.
And then when they introduced Ascended Gear, the gear that everybody's going to want from then on forward, and they made it a very comparable thing. They made fractals, which is very similar to dungeons. They can't make new dungeons after that because they'll go back to the old dungeon reward structure, and it's not as good as the Ascended Gear that you get from fractals. So they can't do that anymore.
I think there's something to be said about the scalability and like long-term playability of dungeons, because I think it's a very different experience if you were someone who played them at release or like farmed them at the end of core game, like when that was current content, versus somebody that comes in now. I find that like going into a fractal for me feels more like a balanced experience, right? Like I truly believe that dungeons did just evolve into fractals, because if you look at what dungeons are in other MMOs, that is what fractals are, right? This kind of instanced content that is essentially like a wing of a dungeon. It is like dungeons as we would think of them in core game, Guild Wars 2, I mean. that is how most other MMOs structure it. It's, a small adventure that you take with a party, and with Fractals, with like the scaling system and other things with that, you get like an increasive level of challenge. But even so, when you go in, it feels like a much more directed, we go through, here's this trash, here's our stuff, we fight the boss has this little mechanic, we do this thing. Whereas in Dungeons, if you come in now as a new player to run those, and you manage to get a group, most likely who are veterans that want to run with you, unless you and all your new player friends want to go in together, it's like, what is even happening? Like, the other people are so far beyond you. They're doing weird tricks where they're standing on a rock and they're falling off at exactly the right angle to get over somewhere. There's a whole hallway of traps. No one waits for you. No, you don't know where you are. You're like, did you fight a boss? Where's the boss? Like,
how do I exist in this space?
Yeah, I see what you're saying there, but that's more like how people interact with it nowadays. Like the people who only do dungeons, how they interact with that nowadays, rather than the content itself. The content itself, I would say, is more dungeons turn into fractals, just like raids are turning into strikes. They're very similar transition in both scenarios, right?
That's something that they've done since the launch of this game. They've not been afraid to experiment. Is the polite way I'm going to put that. And also, and I think that's good. It's important to be innovative, and they have been innovative in the MMORPG market, because they've been here for 10 years almost. We're there. Like, for so long, they're still going. There's still people playing their game, and there are very valid reasons for that. And there are many MMOs over the course of that time period where, they have gone by the wayside, and they still are. Like, even new ones coming out, they're dying. Like, they're not able to continue that longevity. I think at the moment it feels like if you've been around for 10 years now, you're going to be around for a while longer, because, you've got that player base, and it's difficult to switch over. Anyway, the whole dungeon conversation is very difficult, because they had because fractals are very different to dungeons in one big, huge, massive way, and it's access. Access is like the big thing. It's all about access. Dungeons are a classic MMORPG language and understanding of leveling through an MMORPG, like classic from the day they're invented. I don't know when the first instance dungeon came in. It's probably World of Warcraft, but like I can't remember, maybe it was something else. But like, this is a thing that, as you go along in an MMORPG, you're going to hit a dungeon depending on which level you're going to be, whether or not it's every 10, whether or not it's every 5, whether or not it's like 16 and then 18 or whatever it is in WoW. And the experience you're going to get. You're going to get a couple of bosses, you're going to get trash, you're going to get the things. Then Guild Wars 2 changes it up and says, like, it's fractals, like, is the end game for small pie content, like instant content, and it's smaller, and it is another gear set, which is something which Boots brought up, which is a very valid point as well. That's the transition from exotic gear to then ascended gear, which makes sense. And also dungeons at level 80, you can, or slightly under, you can start doing explorable. Actually, no, you can start doing explorable like 30s, 40s, can't remember. But 35. Like, yeah, something like that, to get rares. Then it's rares, then it's exotics, then it's ascended, technically. And dungeons were, back in the day, dungeons were the end game, Ra, Citadel of Flame, those specific things. They were the end game, along with temples, which were in awe. And then, so there was this classic kind of transition, and then dungeons got left behind, obviously, because of fractals, which came in really early in the game, by the way. This isn't like this wasn't like a new thing. They've been around almost since launch. I feel like that was always the plan. Like, fractals were always the plan. I don't think they were going to develop dungeons further. I mean, go and look at when the first fractal was released. Trust me. Like, it was like
six months into the game. Yeah, it'd be weird if they weren't developing it.
They would have. And also the dungeon team was disbanded very, very early into. I think they were disbanded maybe before launch. I want to say almost. I think, or really close to launch. Like, they actually disbanded that team. I don't think anyone even. Well, it's been a long time. Works anymore. But anyway, general point is they had a function. It worked at the time. They don't work anymore. Get smaller versions. Get fractal versions of the dungeons into endgame. Like, use that content. Use the bosses that were fantastic, that I actually love, and some of the mechanics in there, because it is really good. Like the dungeons
Yeah.
are great, and like you said, like as a community, well, that's just a personal opinion, maybe.
No,
but
they are
when,
great.
like,
I don't think. Well, I think there's actually issues with fractal bosses too, but I wouldn't consider fighting a boss and you never see their mechanics as being great. And that's
yeah,
a
but
lot
that's
of
because
dungeons.
that was because of power. Like if you leveled through the game and you played them in story mode, they were genuine.
And the balance was so much different back then too. Like there was no break
Yeah,
bars.
that's why I'm like,
there
I
was,
wouldn't want
there was only
dungeons.
defiance and yeah.
I don't
Had
think
the genuine
dungeons
concept.
need to come into fractals. If anything, I think fractals need to be
Go into
deconstructed
dungeons.
into dungeons.
Yeah.
I'm not no, and into the more classical design because I feel like the one thing, if you have the word fractal, you'll always think of agony
Damn it, we need
resistance.
this podcast as well.
We
Sorry.
do.
We
We've
do.
we have pretty much set off on a whole nother
We
podcast
have,
right
we
now,
really
which is
have.
good.
This is okay, Karif,
But
continue
what
your
I'm just
point,
gonna say
sorry.
is like, if you keep the title of fractals and that with that title, you'll always think of agony resistance. But I would love to see agony resistance go because it is a huge barrier to entry for people, and it feels almost unnecessary at this point. So I would love to see, for marketing purposes and for branding, for fractals to kind of be funneled into the more classical dungeon idea.
Yeah,
And then the
that's a good
tiers
point.
can still exist. And so you'll have tier 1, your easy endgame dungeons, tier 2, harder, tier 3, agony level dungeons where they're incredibly difficult.
So you were talking change the language so it's marketed to people so they understand what the hell fractals are before they even get into the game.
I would say
Yeah.
change the language
sense.
around fractals, but importantly, just change the agony resistance system. And the core dungeons, I find
Mm-hmm.
them as being a really great progression. So if we're looking
Yeah.
at strike missions as a way to progress to raids, I see dungeons as a very obvious progression into fractals. So I don't think they really need to touch dungeons as much. Maybe some of the rewards could be streamlined because it is weird that when you go and you're trying to gear through dungeons and get your exotics, you have 3 sets of armor and 3 sets of weapons
Yeah.
with only 3 stats. That's very old Guild Wars 2 design. I would love to see that updated, but yeah, this is a whole other podcast about dungeons and fractals.
Yeah, but
I had a
we got to have some thoughts here. Like, I
Sure.
don't mind. Just because it's another job doesn't mean we can't pipe in on this. Because Rook
Yeah.
was doing some.
Well, I had a Boots listens to Jebro talk facial journey that I had to just take while listening to Kroof this time around. This is so tough. I do actually, okay, I want to say, just in case anybody thinks I'm a terrible dungeon hater monster, I actually like the
Oh, no, we
idea
know
and
that.
concept of dungeons. I mean, I definitely am, but I actually like the concept of dungeons, but Kroof, I think you both hit the nail on the head and then said some other things that I was like, maybe I just have different
Absolutely
opinions on.
not.
No, because for me, I agree with you 100% on the fact that we need fractals more in this game, right? Like, one of the problems for me right now is the fact that if you're looking for just like a range of instanced PvE content to do in the game, it's kind of weird. Like, there's weird niches, and there are certain things that you can run, like strikes
Very
are
true.
becoming much more with like the new stuff, but it's not like when I log into many other games and I'm like, I just want like a chill dungeon, and I just go and I queue in and there it is and I have fun and I do my little instance thing, right? So for me, I think the really big thing is actually trying to figure out, and they've been working on this, it seems like, but hone in on what they want from this type of content, figure out what they want in the game to include that kind of instance content, and then as much as possible bridge the gap in introducing that to players. So like you were saying, I think fractals, the lore of fractals has almost bizarrely restricted them in a way that has made them so detached from the actual action and in the moment kind of thing. It's not like you're playing through the story and then you get to the point where like, oh, here's this piece of action about what's actually happening right now. We have a fractal of it. And then it goes into fractals, right? It's this thing where it's like, it's a vision of another world and time. And I'm like, this is cool, and I love how it ties into Mist's lore and everything, but please just give me instanced content that like plays into what's happening. So they've started transitioning strikes into that, and I do like the concept of getting wild with certain like fractals and the possibilities of things like the Mist. But I feel like they almost need to figure out a way to loophole in actual things like the story content of the dungeons in the base game, which were real happenings that affected the story and also build out your understanding of the world and Destiny's Edge, right? But I do think they need to touch those. And I do think that long term, there would be a greater benefit to reworking those into fractals. They could maybe rework them into raids, but I don't really think that would be something, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know if that would work as well. Make that story mode version into something like a fractal. Make it an actual piece of content that is taught to new players so that they know what fractals are, they know how to engage with them, they know what the rewards are, they get all the story, because as you go through, in chat there was this great suggestion, like I want them to be turned into kind of like fractals, but then implemented into the story itself, where you like have to do them at certain points. So then you go and you do that story and you do the fractal. And of course, LFG is a whole other component of this. But then you come back and you work the rest of the story, because there are huge gaps in your understanding if you never figured that out or didn't do it. And then when you do get to fractals, you're like, where did these come from? And what is this? And what is this portal for? And why am I doing this? And how do I get a group for it? And where is... And I love those like pieces of content, but they need to bridge the gap. And I think it would make the most sense to me to do it with the materials and the assets and everything that they already have in dungeons in the core game. And then hopefully, yes, like let us please keep implementing fractals more into the game as a part of the flow of what we do in this game, because we need that kind of content. We need group content, we need instance content, we need PvE that isn't just open world or like high end in whatever range that is.
I just got a call back to the red t-shirt guy in the audience for the Heart of Thorns. Launch. We need PvE that's not boring. That guy.
Boring is exactly what he said.
Sorry, it was just no. I'm not saying that you're saying that. It was just that one line. It was just like the guy popped into my. I was there, so I saw it. It was like it was just so funny. But like, it isn't boring. It's definitely
soul.
not doing that. That was a brave soul. What a dick. Anyway, like, but yeah, I agree. The flow, I think that's the big problem in Guild Wars 2. Flow is definitely like a problem, and in America, like I don't know if flow and workflow is a thing in England. It definitely wasn't when I was there like 6 years ago. But flow is definitely a word, especially in like working when you're in a business or anything. Like we all have a flow of how we do things. You know, we go from one place to another place, and it makes it easier depending on how we transition between different objects, things, people, etc. And you got it, good. Like that is a big problem, and like because they have this different content every single time, and funnily enough, Rookery, they may be doing this right. They may be doing this now. Their flow may have changed because of the new player experience, which a lot of people aren't experiencing, other than if you're a brand new player or with a brand new account, because they're doing that whole thing, aren't they? The new marketing thing where they're doing the whole. And I saw it the other day. Someone put a screenshot on Twitter. There was this new UI and stuff. And it was something about a mount and being able to unlock it really early in the game. Like really low level.
I actually had somebody in my chat who was a new player who said that they had unlocked Raptor, I think, in the core game.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah, you get to try Raptor for, I think, around a day or two. It's only a limited amount of time.
But if you buy
it.
the game, you can have access to it. Now, I'm not sure about the language, and the way it was worded, it looked like if you bought the core game, you could get that mount specifically forever. And I was like, wait a minute, what? Buy the game? Do you mean buy the expansion? Because you're buying Path of Fire at the very least, because half one's free. And it's like, okay, so what are you buying? It seemed a bit confusing. So if anyone does have that screenshot, I'd love to see it so I can show on the screen actually. Oh, I really need to find that. Yeah, someone find it. But it is. I wonder. I do wonder, and I really want some insight from ArenaNet on this, on the UI and some of the systems and how they're transitioning new players to that content, because I think that's such an important. I'm going to put that down as a podcast idea. It's a really, really good. It's a really, really good topic. Just like content in Guild Wars 2. The title is The Flow in Guild Wars 2. There you go. That's it. That's going to be a good podcast. But I totally agree. Like, there is a lot of disconnection, and I think that has happened because they switched between different ideas of content they want to do, i.e. the seasonal living world stuff. Because they switched from that idea to the living world in terms of something more manageable, where they produce it every couple of months or so, like an episode, compared to the every 2 weeks that they done originally, because they switched from that content, and this is an extreme example, to the living world stuff. They lost an entire season of the story where players felt so disconnected for 9 years that is like a perfect example of a lack of flow. There was a missing bit. And like Rookery, you said before, how like on the last episode, I can't remember if Boots and Crew were here, talking about that story, missing story. Like, you were always like, I know these things now. Like, I know this was missing, this was not there. And like, that was such a missed experience for a long time. So you can imagine how people feel disconnected from the game at times, even just replaying the story. And I do wonder where that happens along the line of everything, actually. Because if you think about it, there is a big disconnect. Some of the biggest view videos on Guild Wars YouTube is probably ascended gear, how to get it, where to get it, because there is no explanation. Like, there's no understanding hardly, other than a few little bits of garble here and there. And then there's the disconnection of like how you get into modes, PvP, how you get access to that, what you need for that, what do you need to wear armor, do you need to wear like, what, how does that work? World v World, what's that? Is it the same as PvP? Will I just be 80 if I go in there at level 2? Like, there's all this information which really is lacking in the game. I really want to see that leveling experience. I'm wondering if we can all get, I would love to have all our cams, like all our game versions, all 4 of us get a brand new account, new core game, and just have everything like side by side and see if we can see some of that UI and some new information. Anyway,
I tried it recently. I didn't get anything.
You didn't get anything?
I
wonder
didn't
if
get anything. I was so sad.
I think they detect like your, yeah, maybe they've already got your information.
My email that I never used?
No, not the email,
My
but
IP.
like your IP. I don't know laws around that and what that entails, but potentially that could be a thing. I don't know. Anyway, sorry, I rambled for a while. But do you know what I mean? Like, the disconnection like is there, and I think Rookery's like felt it, especially like, you know, you've been playing the game for ages anyway. But like, even just like from when you started playing, like some of the connections, you're probably like, where are we? Like, what's happening? Why are we here? And you're talking about dungeons, and I was like, yeah, like if you go in there now, I was thinking about Ascalonian catacombs, and I was thinking, damn, those traps are oppressive. Like, they are awesome. Like, awesome? Awful. Like, they are just putting you on the floor every opportunity. And then, you're right, people just stand on top of the random columns and pillars and stuff and DPS the boss from range. And I was like, all these things are popping in my head. And I was like, that was the community coming out of different tactics at the time.
Design
but
flaws.
No, I mean, but
Yeah,
that kind of thing is okay
yeah.
at the time. But like later down the line, no, it absolutely is. But like 10 years ago, but Crew,
Funnily
remember,
enough, I have a whole video coming out about this.
well, but remember, MMORPG design 10 years ago is very different to now. And back then, that was like a standard thing. Oh, it definitely was.
No,
Like,
Guild Wars 2 was a great innovator on that front.
yeah,
It was like,
yeah, of course.
it was a
but
huge
like,
aspect of Guild Wars 2's game. Well, spoilers
So-
for my
so-
upcoming video.
but like,
Well,
you
Guild Wars
still
2 never had structure. Guild
Yeah,
Wars
yeah.
2 never had dungeon structure. And I think that's something that bit them in the ass. And they quickly course corrected in Heart of Thorns to have a structure. Not just in terms of, you know, what the boss does, but also in terms of the roles people have to fulfill. It was all damage. And then people just had
Oh,
to find
yeah.
ways
Yeah,
to
yeah.
just kill things. There was never that traditional sense of a new player coming in and going, oh, this is much like other MMOs where you have someone controlling the aggro, someone healing, and the people doing damage. So I think Guild Wars 2's early dungeon was... It didn't set them up for success.
No, I mean, well, that's what I'm talking about. Like back in the day, that's what other games did. Like a lot of games at the times. Absolutely, yeah, of course they did.
What?
Like they were just.
World of Warcraft? Rift?
But they were
Terra?
but they were dungeons in the same way. If you think about I'm not saying like the composition of a team or a party. I'm talking about boss mechanics. I'm talking about just like what a dungeon is. Like the idea of what a dungeon is. That's why they call them dungeons. The reason why they're called fractals is because they're trying to be innovative and different. That's why they changed the name of the things, because they're trying to be different. Like, you know, with mounts, mounts is a classic example for ArenaNet, even though they're called mounts. But like, they've done it so differently. Like, fractals is their take of dungeons, and they're doing it their way. And if you look at the dungeon and what it is compared to other games, the one thing that isn't the same is composition, but that's Guild Wars 2's core like thing, you know. But now they're more traditional probably in that sense. But in terms of dungeons, like everything else is pretty similar. Like, you know, in terms of other than mechanics of the game, like dodging, which is just independent for every game, like there's still a boss, there's still trash in between, just kind of what Rookery was saying earlier. And it was the idea of what people wanted to see because they're just used to it, and that's what an MMORPG is. In terms of like bosses and stuff, it was pretty easy. It's most of the time like you can stand in the spot and you can kind of fudge it. You could argue that's what I'm talking about. That's the specific thing I'm talking about. And as a community, you kind of develop these tactics and these strats, and like if you come in later into the game, like years later, it's just gonna look like an absolute festival because you're like, oh, this is really easy and kind of crap because like we're just standing here and doing this one thing and then that's it. But like when you're a community, and I'm getting to my point, when you're community building those strategies and you're just starting the game and you're all like level, and I think this is what Boots probably enjoyed about like similarly to me in the first place, was playing those early experiences where no one was level 80, no one was high end in the game, and you're all just running in there together and you have no idea what the fuck's going on, and you're just like, damn, this is so, because it was genuinely so good. I will never forget going into
Ascalonian.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially Ascalonian Catacombs, when you're like, when you first figure out that you have to pick up the rock and put it on the thing.
That was revolutionary. It was.
Yeah, and it was like, right? This is like D&D.
Yeah, those things are fun. Those things I enjoyed.
Like, it was that.
I just feel like this might be a rose-colored glasses situation where you're like thinking
absolutely.
about nostalgia.
No. But like, it's not a.
Yeah.
I'm not saying those systems need to come back or anything. I'm just explaining the feelings and thoughts of like back then, because it's 2022. Long dungeon, 5-person content, said man, is like just not feasible now. People's attention spans, well, for one, aren't that they don't work. And like most games fit in with people's like time and like timetables and stuff. The order is just a different play. A lot of the things don't work the same way they used to. We also don't need to have these silly systems in the games anymore because things can be quicker, things can be done in different and better ways. Gaming's come a long way in 10 years, you know. But like I just, those dungeons, I think, you know, rose-colored glasses, like that's fair. That's definitely fair. There's like, at the time, I have a lot of good memories of those dungeons. Doesn't mean they're bad or anything else, but I don't know. I really enjoy. I share Boots's enthusiasm for the old school fun times, but like in terms of like quality differences in strategies and stuff, comparing from dungeons to Guild Wars 2 now, and I think about raids, there are bosses which get cheesed a lot. There are loads of stuff like which is similar, like things which do get cheesed, but definitely, and most of that is because of balance. The game changed a lot as well, Kriff, going back to your point, with raids and stuff as well, was because of like boons, like boon changes.
Yeah.
Like boons were
Like,
one of the main
current-
reasons, right?
Current balance, I've been doing a lot of dungeons and I've very rarely encountered any of the boss's mechanics because you just burst through them all.
Yeah, you can't. Power creep.
So yeah, it is a huge issue about power creep and boon uptime, and also the elite specs and just the inherent value of having ascended gear and other features. It really did affect the balance, because when you're playing Ascalon at that level, you only have like one specialization line and a handful of utility skills. But when you're playing it at max level, you just burst through everything because now you have 3 full elite specs, you have elite specs, the other specializations. So yeah, balance has been a tricky thing.
And also,
for Guild Wars too.
I mean, like, don't forget that when the game, and Rook wouldn't have experienced this actually, because the game had 6 trait lines. 6 trait lines? 5 trait lines. Back in the day. Was it 5 or 6?
It still had the same amount of trait lines, but you could
You have
You
access
didn't have to
more.
just pick 3. You could actually put points in all of them at once, but not be specialized in a particular thing.
Exactly. So the balance changed around. I'm gonna try and find a picture so you can see it, Rick. But like it used to have, it was like 5. Actually, I have build videos from back then.
Yeah, that system was weird.
You used to be able to go, maxing. You used to be able to spend points so you could get the minor trait, because sometimes minor traits were better than master traits. That's the case now anyway, of course. But like, so you could go to a certain place. So like in Support Guardian in PvP, you would go only as far as to get the bubble on res, which is the first major trait, and you would go like hard into the other 2 support lines. So it was like, I kind of miss it a little bit, because I would like kind of that, min-maxing in a way a little bit at times. But like, even that, like thinking about that balance as well, and how much, in dungeons and stuff, that would have changed things. The game has changed so much. I'm sorry for like rambling and like talking about the old game, 'cause I'm rambling a lot. But like, it's been a week. It's been an emotional week. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to say anything. Kroof, I will look forward to that video immensely. I am very excited to see that video.
I'm working on it tonight. Hopefully it'll be done tonight.
Because it's a good one.
It is a very different experience, and I think that some of these strange little gaps, again, aren't maybe as noticeable to veteran players who, like, throughout the evolution were able to evolve with the game, right, and learn these things that were changing and coming in. I did always feel a big disparity there. I honestly wish that I had gone through those dungeons first with a bunch of new players that had never done them. Like, honestly, I really wish that, and I didn't know, because, at the time as well, I had no idea how to even find other new players, because the only people that wanted to run them were like veteran players that were really excited about them. And like, so when I went in, excitement is such a big thing, and communities sometimes forget what it means. But like, this also goes back to many things that we've talked about, and that I hope that they might even be addressing, possibly adding in some of these training arenas, possibly adding in, right? Because the way that these are introduced, and because of power creep, and because of all these other things, and because you don't really have a basis of understanding as a new player that they were end game content, and you don't really like, and you get mail that just tells you to go to them, right? I had no idea. I was expecting something from other MMOs. I was expecting something like dungeons. I was expecting, and so for me coming into it, I truly did not understand even the fundamental skill set at that time that I would need to use in this. So when I talk about the hallway of traps, the reason that stands out to me so much is because I didn't know stability existed. I didn't know what I needed to use for anything. And for me, it was like being in a hell blender, because all of these veteran players, like, were halfway across the map. And some of this also was because at the time, newer to the game and less confident in myself as streaming, right? I didn't know how to just say, get your asses back here, so help me. Like, they were halfway across the map. There might be one person who's trying to offer me advice about, like, just jump across it. Just go fast. just run. And I'm like stuck in this hallway where I just keep dying, and I'm like, what kind of nightmare fuel is this? Why is this happening to me? How am I supposed to get through this? I literally don't understand what is even going on with this. And I'm just like dead, and they keep having to come all the way back to try and res me and try to get me through. And like, the thing is that like I said, I wish I could have experienced it with new players at the time of release, because I love journeys that are about discovery, where, like, you're going through, like, oh my gosh, a trap killed us all. Like, okay, well, what do we have? What are we supposed? How do we get through it? Is there a way to disable it? How do
Someone go on Mesmer, make a portal.
But like, the disparity in, like, the disparity between a new player playing through the game at the pace that they play through now, hitting those dungeons, maybe not having a great understanding of all of their kit, not realizing that they are were end game, not understand, you know what I mean? So like, there's all these weird little hangups with it, and that I think even long term, like, there have been several other MMOs that tried to experiment a little bit more with this, like, exploratory dungeon kind of feel. And almost all of them have had to shift away from that and make it much more streamlined. Oftentimes, I think because of the disparity in understanding and skill that causes these massive gaps between new players and veteran players running the same piece of content. And so it's like having something that is... Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say also probably, I mean, making explorable dungeons nice, especially the first time around, but then repeat it, people are just gonna streamline it, right? People are just gonna take the path of least resistance, and then at that point, from a developer standpoint, it's probably feeling more like, why do we do all this extra stuff to make it explorable?
I can't even imagine what it's like to be a dev sometimes.
Yeah.
I hear the stories. I know what I mean.
Yeah, but it felt so weird to me going through those, and it didn't always feel like a positive experience because I didn't feel like I understood half of what was happening, and the way that I inherently wanted to engage with them, I was being actively discouraged from doing. Actively being discouraged from trying to engage the mobs, actively being discouraged from trying to just move through a space and explore it when people knew the shortcut, right? So all of this to say, yeah, there are a lot of... This happens in every game, and there's going to be weird disparities where there are certain gaps in style of content and content direction changes, because obviously MMOs are developed for far longer than most other single-release, single-player games. So how they go back and address this, I don't really know if they will. It may just always be that dungeons are kind of what they are, and you just experience them, which is also fine. But it is so important to start bridging this gap, because like we've said, I think... especially with the Steam release, both with the cash shop and with elements of new player experience, right? There's going to be a lot more eyes on the game and a lot more people who are trying to size up, like, okay, what is this MMO? Maybe I never tried it before, but like, what's their cash shop like? Okay, and if I go through, what kind of content is there? Dungeons? But wait, dungeons don't exist after that? Okay, well then, but what is there but dungeon? Okay, and then, you know, like...
I mean, definitely that is like a big issue too. I know a few like bigger streamers tried out Guild Wars 2 for a little bit, and like, I think one of the clips I remember seeing was talking about the mounts, and it was like, oh man, that mount looks awesome. So how do you... is it earnable in game? How do you get it? And so no, it's so like, yeah, so so I think that's I think because right now, for whatever reason, probably because they're so good, Guild Wars 2 is known as that MMO who has fantastic mounts. It probably would be a good idea to put some interesting looking mount skins earnable in games so that people don't get turned off by that aspect.
It is interesting. Like, so much of the game... Oh man, this is definitely... I'm written some ideas for this being a podcast. Like, you know, it's... If you think about MMOs and like, so MMOs that have been around for so long, and you think about how do they bring the essence of what and the life and what and that MMORPG is now into the present for a new player. How do you transfer that experience when so much is reliant upon an expansion or a future experience that you need to have had in the game, whether or not it's hours, whether or not it's story locks, whether or not it's, you know, a level that you have to be to unlock a class, you know, those experiences that someone may really connect to, but doesn't get that opportunity because they have to spend the time. And all it is just a road that you travel down, but you miss this experience. And that's why what's interesting about that Raptor experience a new player has, like, what is the difference? Whereas, you know, older players like us, I'm sure you've all said it in some way or another, should I boost to 80 and go and play Heart of Thorns? And the first thing I'll say is, no, experience the world. But now, like, after now thinking about it, I'm like, maybe go get a glider and go back. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe get that new thing and then go back. But also, the game is, but like, that's nostalgia, and that's those glasses you're talking about, Kroof, about my first experience and trying to think, how can that be replicated from 9 years ago to now? And it's like, but they need to have their own independent experiences, and maybe the best experience they can have is bringing new content to the past and, you know, locating it there. I mean, it's a very cool and awesome conversation to have.
I have a video on the whole entire Steam release that I also just released.
Proof you are
Oh.
prolific. Let me just say.
Ooh, let's
I
watch it
know,
live.
I don't
He's putting
know,
these out
but
there.
there are a couple. I think I'm doing many more like videos that are about the general MMO experience and how it connects to Guild Wars 2, because I think I really care about Guild Wars 2, and I think that the Steam release, there needs to be more updates to the game before they actually launch. And we've heard that they're not going to be doing some grand overhaul, because they said that they tried it in 2014 and it didn't work. But in my opinion, it didn't just work, it made it worse. So you kind of have to go back and correct certain things that were messed up.
Yeah.
But to your point, Jebro, about
True.
when you have something further down in the game that you really want to get to, I think that's actually great to have. It's incentive for
I
people to
agree.
play. My main concern is that journey to that end goal fun? Is it logical? Is it succinct? Does it have structure to it?
Well, that's the thing,
Or does
yeah.
it leave people so open-ended that they go, well, is it really that worth it to get to level 80? Which to many
Exactly.
people sounds like a really like far away adventure, but to us,
Mm-hmm.
we're like leveling is pretty streamlined. I still think that leveling could be faster in many ways, but especially for newer players going onto Steam, you want to hook people. And the old age of MMOs, like having this long drawn out journey, it really just isn't a thing anymore. When you're thinking about business, you really got to get people to that good stuff very quickly. So I also really am fascinated with like, is it a matter of bringing mounts and gliders to earlier game, or is it just really putting in all the work to refine that 1 to 80 process to then captivate people and go from there? So
So are you
there's multiple ways.
saying are you saying maybe from 1 to 10 is a weak point?
Yes, I think 1 to 10 is probably the weakest point at Guild Wars 2.
Which is rough because it's the most important.
That's what
thing.
I'm saying. Like, it starts with a great hook with like the first instance,
Yeah, that's
and
good.
it immediately drops. Like, it plummets so fast, which
weird.
is in part the story stuff, but also in terms of gameplay. When you're creating your character, you don't know what your gameplay is going to be like. When you're going on an elementalist, you're like, oh, mage, and then you're equipped with a dagger, and you're like, go play melee, and you're like, I didn't expect this. And you're like, how do I go about this? How do I interact with the world?
That's
Where do I
interesting.
go?
Well, I mean that brings me to the thought of, we are really going off on one today, aren't we? And
This is like, yeah,
I'm
we won't
loving
chat.
this
We're gonna be
convo,
sticking to
though.
the docket.
I'm loving this convo though. I'm really enjoying it. Just to note, that makes me think of like more Eastern MMORPGs and how they have those descriptions of like with the weapons and stuff, and they even have small video sections where they're like, they show you the combat and stuff. And I'm thinking, damn, you're right. You're so right. And if you're an engineer and you play the game for the first time, you are going to quit the game. You are going to quit the game because you have a pistol and it's not fun. And then you're like, when do I get other weapons? And then you suddenly realize that you're an engineer and you only have 3 or 4 like choices, really. And yeah, there is some real lack of explanation of things. But then I think, there was a reason why we continued to play 10 years later. So there was stuff there that was very innovative and different, but now maybe not as much because people need to grasp things even quicker. Because I wonder what retention was like in games back in like 10 years ago. Like, how long would it take for a person to quit a game compared to now? Because I've talked about this before in Steam, it's like 12 minutes or something. I think it was longer in the past, especially because we're not that patient as the human race is. We know why that is. We can see it with social media, TikTok, everything else. I know I'm an old man, but it's true. So that is a very, very interesting conversation we should definitely have, and we're going to have in the future. But for now, I'm going to pull us back. Way back. And also
if there's something in particular we want to get to on this stream, we're
gonna do it now,
topic
yeah.
wise,
We're gonna do it.
we should, because I have to go cook drunken noodles pretty soon.
That's
so
okay.
You making them for all of us, or like we coming over? Or, like,
if you
We
want to,
get drunk
come
and then
on
just eat
down.
noodles.
It'll be fun.
That's what drunken noodles are. Yeah.
I don't want that heat. I'm not interested. The heat is not fun. But also, look at this
Damn,
way
I'm
of
hungry
putting
now.
traits into the thing. This was flipping old school as well. In the PvP thing, and you scroll down, you had all the traits,
I
and you
miss it.
slot them in.
I miss it so much.
God,
We used to have
same.
class trainers.
Yeah,
we
we
used to
did.
have we used to have people that you have to go to
buy each
unlock
trait.
these systems.
Yeah.
I think we should
Wow.
bring class trainers back to also teach people the game. Like,
To teach people the game, not to do this. To
There's
do
also
not to do that, but like
a
teach people.
respect tome that a guy sold that you have to go to. That
Oh
you had
my
to buy.
gosh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can just change your because when god, that was a big thing that came into the game,
were
wasn't it? When you're
locked
out
in.
of combat, they brought that in much later. Yeah, when you were out of combat, you couldn't change your build. You had to go do the things. Whereas when that came in, that system, everyone lost their shit. Like they loved that. They was like, yeah, whoa, I can change my build and all this kind of stuff. And then people, they brought in Taco and all that stuff to do that anyway, as well later on.
I could see why they'd have to move away from something like that. I guess just for
Sure.
with any prayer of balance ever existing at
wasn't
any
fun.
point. But I actually, this is wild. I have never even seen any of these interfaces, and I've never even seen
Yeah.
that this.
Oh
was a
yeah.
thing.
Can
This
you
is
can you
pretty-
go back for Rook? Can you go back to the trait system?
Yeah.
I
Which
see
one?
that-
Oh, look, both on the screen at the same time. The PvE and PvP.
So
Good
yeah,
job,
there's
Jebro.
PvE. So look at this. So very similar to now, you have 5 trait lines, but now you can only pick 3 at a time. In this, you had a point system that you put in to like advance down the line of, and you didn't have to go the whole way. You could just go 5 into it, you go 10 into it, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it because it added so much customizability, and so that's what brought about the first Bootspad build. It was like that, and I was actually sad when they went to the new version in Heart of Thorns with the specializations and stuff, because it
that was it.
reduced the amount of customization so much.
Yeah.
And not just traits, but by going down a line, it actually gave you attributes. So attributes were not just on
Yeah.
gear. So if you
Exactly.
wanted
There
more
you go.
healing
Yeah. If you look
power,
at that.
that makes so like you'd be like, why would you just put 2 points into a line and not get anything? Because you were getting stats as well.
Exactly.
So like the whole balance, it was so wild and complicated and convoluted.
God. I completely wow. I completely forgot about that.
I got eagle eyes.
Like awesome. Yeah, but like there was this I was talking about earlier, like there was that one trait, and it's still in the game, the res for now. Each class has got it. They've got like a res utility specifically, necro. Well, it's got a bit too many, but like that
Engineer.
guardian bubble, like when you just res, but was that the bomb you put down?
Engineer
I got taken
had
away,
a
didn't
res
it?
trait, but it was gotten taken away. It was when you died. When you died, you put down a bunch of med packs.
Yeah, that was
and
one of them.
bombs, I think.
It was the med packs. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you were able. I made a bill. You were able to res yourself with a resurrection elixir, and I think something else. You put them down as you're about to die.
That's what
They
that's how
can't-
you use it anyway.
They can't stop you in time, and then you get resurrected, and then
Yeah.
heal back up to full because you have all the med packs around you.
All right, yeah, cool. Well, that's what I've been doing
That's
recently.
so
I've
toxic.
been playing core. The best. I still love core builds in this game. I still play them. I'm trying to bring bombs back at the moment in PvP.
Nice.
It's not working, unfortunately, because the balance is so bad. But like, sorry, devs. They've just forgotten about the game mode. But like, I love the core game still, and there were some cool fun things. I definitely think the trait system is easier to understand now for new players. I think it's better than it is the way it is now, because there's so much to this. And Kroof, like bringing back the stats in the line, oh my god, I completely forgot about that. I think that was PvE only though. I don't think that was PvP.
Yeah, no, because you had your amulets for PvP.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That would have been. Although, you know what, I kind of maybe want, but that would have been kind of cool actually. But anyway, I digress. And there was more amulets. Like I saw a cleric amulet in there, which was just focused on mainly specifically
Oh
healing.
my baby.
But they did change. They changed balance because healing was ridiculous, whereas now
had
damage is
celestial
Rid of my
ridiculous.
son.
That's just my son. I want to go over to Pride. Let's see that. Okay.
Happy Pride Month.
Okay.
It is Happy Pride Month, indeed. If anyone does, I don't want to cut anyone off with any conversations and things they were going to bring up and talk about. So if they do want to drop that in very quickly, they're welcome to. But I came over to here and then suddenly wandered off because I was going to. I'm not sure how I say their name, and I'm probably going to butcher it. I think this is a good person to stand by. As we talk about this, it's not going to be a massively long conversation, I guess, because we do have to go, and there's people have to go cook noodles. But there is. I'm blaming mostly Boots. I'm joking.
Damn.
Tyria Pride on it's tomorrow actually. Tomorrow and Sunday. Rook reminded me yesterday actually. I think we were streaming. I can't remember during this past week because I completely forgot. Not that I've had loads going on. But Tyria Pride, LGBTQIA2+ community celebrating on the weekend. It is Pride Month, people. It is Pride Month. Our awesome LGBTQ family people, community members within the stream, on this podcast as well, allies, which I consider myself to be, will be walking on the weekend for Pride on NA and EU. Rook, do you want to tell us any more about, do you want to tell us some of the what are you doing for Pride this weekend? Is there something going on in the game?
Kroof, do you have plans this weekend, or were you thinking about doing anything on Sunday?
Oh, you just moved it to
I don't know.
Kroof.
My schedule's kind of open, I guess. Sunday I might be around.
Oh my gosh, did you I don't know, did you maybe want to go to the Pride March together? And maybe with Glenn too, if you want to
I gotta get my community service in somehow.
We are going to be doing community service on Sunday. No,
yes, we are.
We're going to be co-streaming the Pride March, the NA Pride March at 4 p.m. CT on Sunday over on my channel, alongside Glenn on Hell. Possibly maybe Jebro, although I need to message everybody about that, but Jeb showed some interest. But everybody is super, super welcome, and yes, it's gonna be a fantastic time, whether you yourself are LGBTQIA+ or you're an ally. Come, show some support, show some love, show some visibility for these kinds of efforts in game. We're gonna be raising money for a fantastic organization. I got too excited, I ran out of air for a second.
You did.
For a fantastic organization, Rainbow Railroad, which is what Tyria Pride. I don't know if they raised money for it last year too, but or a different one.
So.
But
maybe it was Trevor Project last year.
Maybe.
I can't remember.
But there's going to be giveaways. There's going to be lots of stuff, and they do have EU and NA times for both of those days, Saturday and Sunday, so that you'll be able to attend if you'd like to. And like I said, they'll give away stuff in game, and then if you donate, you'll also get entered into raffles for various other prizes, including art commissions and things like that too. So it's a great cause, and it'll be a great time.
Awesome. Yes.
Everyone should
Come check us out Sunday. And I believe Lara is doing it on Saturday. So if you're interested, you can head over to Lara's channel tomorrow and celebrate some stuff in game. Yay.
I will probably join you if you don't mind a bald English old man joining you. I will probably join you. It is.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll have to talk to the council.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll ask everyone privately and then let you know.
Do it.
Jebro,
Gate cat.
I have a request for you.
What?
Do you have face paint?
I have red face paint and blue.
And
I was
blue.
gonna ask if you could make your bald head rainbow.
That's a lot.
You could also make purple if you mix the blue and red together.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
I can have a free.
If you have
I can have a
red, blue, and something, you can have all the colors.
It would be kind of a dark rainbow. It would be like a very it would be maybe not the
A
same.
dark rainbow.
Okay, you know what?
I've got
Maybe
a Twitch
next
t-shirt
year.
with Pride on. I will try and find something. I will find some things. I will pride it up. I promise. I wish I had
Can you? I mean, with red
rainbow
and
wig.
blue and purple, you could do like a Bowie thing.
True. I mean, I could put I can do some stuff for it. The thing is, I'm very I want to be more quiet on that day.
Why? Oh. Okay.
I think Rick maybe knows maybe why. I don't know. I'm more of an I'm
Yes,
it's
that you
not,
want everyone else to have their moment to shine and be there
absolutely.
to support.
It's not for me specifically. It's for I am joining in because my friends, it's important to them, and I want to support them. It's not my day, but I will do a thing. I will try and do a thing to join in the spirit of things. But do you know what I mean? I think it's just a personal like.
Yes, I understand.
It's
Yes, and I think a lot of us can feel this too, right? That there's a sense of like, especially now when there's been so much talk about this and we've seen so much more visibility of talk about this online,
Yeah.
the idea of like, I don't want to infringe on a community that like I absolutely support, but like I don't want to be trying to hog the spotlight or like be there if I'm not welcome or, you know, those
Exactly.
sorts of things. But I will say this about Pride, and of course every individual is going to have their own thought and feeling on this. But now more than ever, be loud.
Yeah, that's true.
Be
That's
loud.
true.
Even in your
Yes.
allyship. Like,
Yeah,
please
yeah, that's true.
contact your senators. If you're in a
definitely
state or
loud
you're
on
in a
that part.
country where like there are these
Things are
terrible,
getting
terrible
fucked up.
things. Yes, like there are these horrible anti-trans laws that are happening right now.
Yeah.
There's all this stuff that is just like despicable that's occurring right now. So be loud, offer shelter to those who need it if we get to that point. Contact people, support organizations, come to things like Pride. And yes, like absolutely listen to people, listen to their journeys, listen to their stories, listen to their experiences, and don't feel like, you know, I mean, yes, like, well, I'm here and I'm straight and I'm going to tell you all about it. I knew I loved the opposite gender my whole life. Like, of course, but like, I think very few people would actually do that. You know what I
No,
mean?
everyone is
yeah.
welcome at Pride.
I would, and that's why I'm not invited.
True.
No, if
Definitely.
you want, if you want to come to, we can work this out. Everybody can come to Pride. I'll figure out how to get all the cameras to go. I'll do it. I'll, you know,
Your computer is going to explode.
it's gonna just explode. But like, honestly, the more the merrier. And yes, I think it'll be a great time. And showing visibility and passion for this is what matters, you know. And that in a space, especially in games where a lot of times people think like the minority, as it were, doesn't matter, or like, you know, we shouldn't make games to cater to people or things like that, right? I think showing that like we're all here in gaming and we support these things and we love these things and we want them in our games, like that matters, you know? And Guild Wars 2 is so great with that, so it's extra good
Guild
to
Wars
support.
2 is especially great with that, and I appreciate that about the game. Absolutely.
Yay.
100%.
Exactly. But yeah, the times there is on the forums. I'm gonna link it on. I'm gonna link it right now in the chat. Obviously, if you are listening to this afterwards, after the fact, the weekend, 18th and 19th, and there are times and everything else. I'm not gonna post the link in there because it will probably be pointless. Because oh no, actually, it's going out on YouTube. Anyway, it's in the chat. Go and look at it. It's got all the info, times, everything else. But people are going to be opening some LFGs. Don't do it other than if you're like an event organizer and you're going to be able to join people. So if you, and this is a great time. In all honesty, I think this is one of the safer ways, probably one of the safest ways to engage community members. That, especially if you've not been in these communities at all ever, like this is gonna be one of the best ways to get involved for sure. Absolutely, actually, like go to these maps, try and have a look at the LFGs, and get to know some people who potentially you could belong to some awesome communities. There's so many within Guild Wars too, that welcome LGBTQI plus folks, and like we do, as like we all do, I'm sure, within our guilds and communities. You know, we tout them as very safe spaces for you to come and join us. We've, you know, have many best and great friends that are in these communities with us. So come and join us all to celebrate on Sunday if you want to. Like you said, if you're an ally, like just get loud and do some things, and make sure that you're wearing some rainbow stuff on when you're doing it, because I
In the
will be
wise words
disappointed.
of Jennifer Lopez, let's get loud.
Yeah. Yeah,
Anyways.
it's important. It's appreciated. Like I've got a lot of kids who love this month so much, and they're looking forward to, you know, celebrating and doing all the things, and I see how important it is to them, and it's just awesome. I like the possibility for change. And yeah, there is a lot of shit that goes on in other countries. There's a lot of prejudice. There's a lot of so much. And just like talk about it at the very least. It's very we should be doing it and normalize shit, because you know, I mean, I was talking on Twitter. I started to get really mad yesterday. There's loads of talk about, you know, the Buzz Lightyear movie, and there's a same-sex relationship.
Kiss. Yeah, or
they're the
something.
kiss, yeah. Like people are like, oh, this shouldn't be in a kids movie and all this stuff. I'm like, kids movie? They're teaching them about relationships. Like it should be in
They're
the
making
kids
our
fucking
kids
movie.
gay.
What are you talking? Yeah, they're making our kids, and I'm just like, well, some of your kids are gay. Like that's cool. Like let's show them that is a normal thing and that is okay. Really, really early. I wonder because and they were talking about sexualizing it. It's like, it's not sexualizing anything. These are human relationships. These are normal things your parents are doing. Like, this is just like, so let's normalize the fuck out of all of this. Make it a normal thing that
The
we
double
can
standard
just do.
is wild.
It
I
is
know, it's so weird.
It just,
It's like they're not in lingerie doing a striptease.
yeah, exactly. It's not
adult
like
film.
flipping. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like it's love. It's a
It's
relationship.
so funny because the only time that I hear about things being sexualized is from the opposition. It's like,
yeah.
we're literally people are just holding hands or they just kissed. Like, I don't know what's happening. I didn't get anything sexual about it. I mean, other than I think people confuse sex and sexuality
Yeah.
way too often.
absolutely.
Like, okay, well, now yeah, it's weird times, and just, I don't know, I laugh at it, so it's wild.
Yeah, I mean, I get angry with it, and I'm an ally. Like I can't even imagine. Like I can only I get. Oh dear. Like I just want to jump into the comments and throttle people. I'm ready. Honestly, I don't care. I'm just like, if I could, I would. Sorry, Chris. What? Wait, what?
Dying over a comment in the chat right
That
now.
rhyme scheme got me. I loved it. Okay.
Oh my god. No,
The Winnie the Pooh see-through moo moo.
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh is pantsless 24/7. That's advertising. That's making my kid sexual.
Want to be pantsless 24/7?
They want to be
Oh my
pantsless.
gosh, this is so funny. This is totally completely unrelated, but
Okay.
actually, funnily enough, I think it was Matthew Medina from Guild Wars 2 who was the one who retweeted it that I saw. If you're ever curious about what it's like trying to get things like this that are just no-brainers through censorship or through children's networks. I think it was Alex Hirsch who did Gravity Falls, recently did a whole Twitter thread where he has these dramatic readings of actual exchanges that he had with Disney over various things in Gravity Falls, one of which was same-sex, a same-sex relationship that was he wanted fully canonical, but it ended up being yeah, no, they're really good friends, and then lo and behold SNR would get back and be like, okay, it's approved then if they're just bros, that's okay.
Amazing. Those guys
There's
are-
all this stuff on there, but it was so funny when you think about some of the loopholes of representation or image in media, and even considering the blog post we had this week about Casimir and Yuri, and it was an engagement, you're all right, and
I'm not sorry though.
Bert and Ernie.
I admit,
It's weird.
I can fully
don't
admit
actually,
I'm wrong.
I don't think.
I'm not sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm not sorry. I'm so glad it's in the game.
I don't think that the narrative team has fully decided because there was messaging of an engagement both out of game and in game, but then some people were saying one of the developers was vows for a wedding. So I'm like, I don't think they actually agreed on what. There seems to be some mixed signals.
But there was a whole post about that, and
I just
how
see
they
it.
even got their content implemented in Guild Wars 2, and I thought that was really a great read, especially in
man.
Pride Month.
I have not read that. I've got to go read it. I've just not had time.
It
this
is
week.
long.
Oh,
It is long,
maybe
but
not
it's
that then. We'll get you lot to read it until night.
Oh, great.
I bet you love. You bet you love it when I do that on the podcast.
Honestly,
I
we
like
could maybe
reading
talk about
through
that
those.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, it's true. Yeah.
I think we'll do it. That will do it. Unless anyone wants to add anything. Yes, we do have many characters and many members, even just of Arena, within the community who are very, they don't hide that. I don't think anything in the game is being hidden as to, we have this relationship which is the forefront of Guild Wars 2's story in terms of representation, which is just very blatant, very there, and very loud, and very awesome.
And right from the beginning too, the Sylvari
Yeah.
race for example,
Loves
is
the
like,
line.
yeah.
That's it. Exactly. So it's very cool. And I think that's, a reason why we continue to, and I'm going to pop a burnout thing in there as well. And I think that's one of the really good reasons why we don't probably we can get burnout in Guild Wars too. Because in the title it did say burnout, so I'll drop a little bit in there as well. But like, this is one of those games where you can feel like, it's like a family. You can come back, you can pop in and out, you can be gone for a while, and you can come back, and you know that there's these core values within the game that will always remain, no matter where they started. They've been there from the beginning, and as we have developed in the world, and obviously, hopefully, and grown, they have grown as well, and like they will continue to grow in a positive way. And if that's not always represented through the gameplay and through the balance or through the content within the game, that there are communities within it that you can feel safe, empowered, and comfortable with. And that is one thing that always brings me back to Guild Wars 2, and will never fully burn me out in the game, because I know I have the choice to engage with people who are awesome, like these three amazing people who I've met through a podcast, which I am very, very blessed to be a part of and to have them here. As they look around and think, what the fuck is happening? Even Boots. And so I was trying to be, as the kids say, cringe for a moment. But like, but I was being very genuine and all things there.
It's not cringe, it's beautiful.
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah, even for Boots.
I am cringe. I'm free.
But yeah, so I will say that there's the burnout bit, because actually, one thing that has re-energized me in this game is talking to these people about it. Honestly, I think that's actually it really, really has. Like, it genuinely has given me the drive to continue to create content, to continue to talk about it, and also like how much I've learned just about myself and about other people, like LGBTQ community, even just from like the people we have in this stream, like loads of people, and like we had extra guests that we've had on, the new guests that don't have the platform to maybe be fully out there as much as they would like to, and Harold, who is just awesome and amazing, and love it when they come on, and everyone that comes on.
Speaking of which, it's always when I'm gone. I'd like to have some of them on when I'm here too, so I could actually say hi to them as well.
You're the only one who doesn't come. So like, I only replace people because I feel bad.
That's fair.
Also as well when they're not here. So like, we have a crew, and then like,
Boots.
yeah.
I'll peace out a couple weekends, and then
we
you can
can't have
people
that.
in. I'll peace out. I'll peace out.
No. It's not happening.
The world would collapse.
I'll peace out and just do the tech.
Oh, actually, that
God.
would work.
That one might be okay. Yeah.
I'm sure everyone would be happy if I wasn't there.
We're like, swap hosts. What if we just created a network?
Jebro's not gonna ramble for like 20 minutes.
Just give us your stream key.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just take it. We'll take it, Jebro.
Yeah, that's fine.
No,
I'll do that.
Jebro, I think that I rival you in rambling, so you're good.
Yeah,
You're
your
good.
rambling is eloquent. Mine is just like
Yours is
there's a
also-
piece of grass over there. Whoa!
I will say this. Yes, you're both very eloquent in your rambling.
No, I'm not.
I feel like Rook has a more of a direction to her rambling.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Rook knows where to go.
Absolutely.
Jabro's like, well, I'm going.
Well, the funny thing is, when I used to do PvP commentary though, it was fine. Like, I was always fine, like on a professional level. But when it's on my channel, I'm just like, wow, there's everything in the world, and we could talk about it all now. That is the way I am.
Boots is very.
You do
succinct.
free association, I think, Jebro, when you talk. You just,
It's very much a stream.
oh,
of
now I'm talking about this word.
It's
Oh,
more-
in this ramble, I talked about this word. Now I'm gonna start talking about this word.
It's because I see value in everything. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I do it in counsel. It happens in counseling. I'm like, and it helps clients for some reason. Like, they do it. So it's just a counseling.
Because people
It's
get
weird.
lost. They're like, I forgot what I was even thinking about.
Yeah, well, the thing is, random when you free association is a big therapy thing, like old school, like especially. Anyway.
Jebro, I love your rambling.
Thank
No, I
you.
love it. I was just gonna say that's it. I like the free emotion, free thought. It's all very good. And then Kroof comes in, just like knocks it out of the park with some really astute observation or an expression that kills me. And Boots, I just love everything you do. Everything about you is just A+. And I loved seeing your painting today. It was so nice. It was very fun.
We
You have
learned
good
a few
observations
things
on the
about Boots
game.
today. Yeah, like
I
Boots.
wish to have more of Boots' succinctness. He's like, boom. It's almost
Yeah,
like a
Boots.
poem. It's like 3 lines and you got the whole image.
You just drop it. It's so good. Also, I do need to see you as a child in a penguin suit.
Yeah, we do need to find that.
It's
If you
gone.
are
I burned
missing-
every
No.
copy.
If you're missing context that we had the conversation before that may have been talked about while Boots had a quick AFK moment.
Yeah, I
Um,
definitely think that was in confidence. I don't know.
Oh, the rules of
Well.
confidence broken. I wasn't.
so sorry.
I didn't
I did
say
not
it, so
write-
it was not my fault.
I would never
sign
say
an
I didn't say
NDA, and you can be in full confidence that I told people. Actually, it wasn't me, technically.
Oh, so if it wasn't me and it wasn't proof,
Well,
it must have been
must have
Crichton
been someone
Herald.
else.
It was right
That's
now.
true.
It was Fornax.
That was Phonics. Alright. You can go back into the podcast and listen to that if you've popped in at the end. Otherwise,
Or not.
Or do.
I mean, it's going to be there forever. It is, the info is out there. We just don't have the proof, physical proof, other than your word,
You have the
which I
proof.
believe, by the way.
Oh, I believe every single thing that Boot says. You could tell me something completely absurd and I would believe it. I want you to know that.
It's because it's
I believe
Canadian.
it.
Okay, hold on. Let me think about it. Actually, that's what I do as a pastime. People find it
You
very.
tell the
live.
truth.
Truth be
No, I like
It's like I like
90% of my in real life humor is saying something very stupid and ridiculous, but like very straight, saying it very, like with a
You
completely
mean
dry
deadpan?
deadpan, yeah, and figuring out how many of my friends know that I'm speaking out of my ass or not.
I met you in PAX West, didn't I? PAX East.
Yeah.
Yeah, we met right there, didn't we? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We're standing
She's
around
like,
on the
Wow.
street. On
Y'all
the
forgot you met?
stage.
That's awkward.
Oh, well, the thing is that there were 2 very different events that were happening. Like, I was commentating the World Tournament Series, and Boots was on the stage for the Heart of Thorns launch. So it was like, I didn't get to meet a lot of people because I was just there the whole time. And I didn't even get to see I saw the booth at the beginning and the end, like before the show.
Remember when I had to ask who your co-streamer was?
For Colaris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Colaris was co-streaming with you for it.
He's
He was a massive streamer
commentator.
back then.
No, not streamer,
And I was
commentator.
And I was like, Keelaris, that's so do you do stuff? What do you do a lot of the streaming stuff or something?
I mean, if you didn't play StarCraft and you weren't into esports, which back then, wasn't a massive amount of people, like you wouldn't have known. You wouldn't have known. That's okay. I don't think he hated you actually.
That's good. That's good.
But it was like that every single cast we did, which was a lot, like around the world. It was like, remember that Boots guy? I can't believe that Boots guy. Bastard.
I know.
Okay, we didn't do an intro, so we're gonna do an outro. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you are all amazingly well and that you're having a great month and doing all the things. It is summer, so if you've got kids and they're just going on summer holidays, I'm sorry.
Yes. Our condolences.
Yeah, but also I'm sure they're happy and maybe you like spending time with them as well, so also not sorry. But also, Kroof, tell us about yourself, what you do, where you do it, and also an exit question. What are you wearing on Sunday?
Oh.
In game. What is the most LGBTQ pride thing you're gonna wear on Sunday? On your character or in stream.
I'd have no.
One
okay, well,
article. Or the entire outfit, I guess.
Oh, okay. Well, hi everyone. While I continue to buy time and try to answer these questions in a slow way to find an answer to that last question, I'm Kroof. You can find me a lot on YouTube, where I am posting more generalized videos about Guild Wars 2, very high level conversational style videos. There's one that's on the Steam release, and there is one going to be produced about the Holy Trinity system and Guild Wars 2's history with that. And I also stream here on Twitch throughout the week. Mondays for Final Fantasy XIV, and the rest of the days are usually for Guild Wars 2. And for what I'm gonna wear on Sunday, I want maybe like, I could go edgy. And
is there an edgy pride?
And do like the
outfit?
Executioner outfit. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But I guess the next safest bet would just be like put on the Oreen outfit, or like a Choya Pinata type vibe. I feel like we might see a few Choya Pinatas there.
Nice.
I like how you
Awesome.
said arena outfit with all the disdain of like, I guess like an absolute pleb would do. You can just put on like.
I was like, I know Rook's answer is going to be that. So I was like,
Yeah, I know.
you know, you could just do that, I guess.
Rook is just pride all year round. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. We're gonna go from the bottom up. Hey, Boots. Let's
Hi.
about yourself, what you do, where you do it, and if you're coming on Sunday, then what will you wear for the Pride March in Tyria?
I think the gladiator chest plate at least.
Oh yes. Are you gonna show some nipple?
Yeah, I'm
That
gonna
is
show
the
some
one.
nipple.
That is the one nipple.
Come
I know
on.
the
Yeah.
exact thing that you're talking about. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
gladiator chest plate, definitely.
Ooh, nice
Dyed
little
black,
pinky.
do a little yeah, leather action. You know how it is.
there is some leather in that. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
This is what you're wearing in real life, and then in the game, what are you gonna wear?
In the game.
A full-on habit.
You can show nipple as a male, like a male identifying streamer now. That is okay.
Is it?
Yeah.
That seems like a double standard.
Yeah.
I mean,
Indeed, it does.
that is another podcast. That is another podcast. Not as a female, no. Yeah, that's what Boots is saying.
And so anyway, I do stuff on YouTube sometimes. I haven't for a little while because I've been gone for a month. But I may or may not get back to trying to figure out some Boots Bad builds. So I'll try to get that on for you guys in the next 4 months, let's say.
Because there's a balance patch coming.
Oh, okay. I'll wait until that
4
hits
months.
at least.
When is the balance patch?
In 2 weeks.
Oh, perfect. So I'll
Cool.
start working after that. And I've been fishing on Twitch for a very long time. I'm level 40 now on my character. That I'm going from level 1 to 80 just by fishing. After that, I
Where
think I'm
are you
gonna
at the moment? What level are you?
40.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, I'm
Go and check
halfway
it out.
there. Ooh, I'm halfway. Okay, and then
He can't sing anymore, so don't do that.
I can't.
Not him.
Oh,
no,
you meant on
no,
Twitch?
you
On Twitch
can
'cause
sing.
DCMA. DCMA.
You
Yeah.
can't sing.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, that's
Um,
not why.
No, it's because it's that good. We would
you'll
definitely get.
Oh right, yeah. So yeah,
It's
a
happened
compliment.
before.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have the voice of an angel,
Definitely
Bon
have the voice
Jovi
of
to be
something.
example. And yeah, so fishing. I think after I level my fisher to 80, holy shit, something just fell down outside. There's a big wind. I gotta go look at whatever that was. That looked like a tree.
Oh, no.
After that, I think I want to level up a character only through exploring.
Are you just going through your Guild Wars to future, like what you want to do in the game?
Yeah.
That's a
Oh,
different
sorry.
podcast.
Is this an outro or is
an
this just me
outro.
talking?
Well, I don't know. I
Oh.
mean, it can be whatever you want it to be.
Oh, okay.
I
Then
guess I'm just trying to find the nipple. Oh no, actually, I'm not convinced that the nipple is available.
Or babies. I'm
don't
trying to
think-
find the
it's like, yeah, there's a little window there, no?
Is that a window to the
A
nipple?
window.
It could
Yeah.
be. Is
I mean,
that-
there's a lot exposed up in
Oh,
there.
there you go. There you go. That
It's
one.
very
Yeah,
tasteful.
there's a little
That one's
perfect
got.
little triangle nipple.
That's
But
all
this
right.
one's
I
got
like the
both
strappy
of
one more, though.
them.
It tastes like
I like
sweat
the
and
strappy
Norn.
one.
That would titty out.
I would city out too.
That's pretty good, yeah. And oh yeah, also I do host of Ascalon.
I enjoyed that there was a lot of silence during that specific moment.
Yeah.
Like it was just even the music went down in the game, and it was just like, oh, I'll titty out. I was like,
Can you show us the side?
Sure.
What's the side boob situation like on this
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, but it's non-male.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Side
good.
boob's
actually.
fine. That's valid too.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So yeah, also I've got a host of Ascalon. I did one last week. I think it got released already. So go check
Nice.
that out with Alona. And that's it. That's me.
Okay. What you? Oh right, sorry. You're wearing this on Sunday. The chest piece.
The chess piece. Only the chess piece.
Cool. I don't even.
I love this. I love this for you.
Yeah.
No, can't
It'll
change
be
that.
nice.
Okay.
Maybe a scarf too. And a scarf.
Yeah, for when it gets
So
cold.
you don't get cold. Yeah.
Scarf. I don't know if the scarf's gonna cover it, but we'll see. Okay. Thank you, Boots, for joining us as well as ever. Welcome back as well to both of you. I know both of you.
Thank you.
Yes, and then our last but certainly not least, it is Jebro Unity. Sorry,
Wait a second.
Rookery. Wait a minute.
Fantastic.
Rookery,
Deborah's time.
legend. What do you do? Where do you do it? And also, yesterday, Rookery was on the Crown channel as well. I will announce that very quickly.
Oh my
Hey now.
goodness.
You
I
were
was-
there, Kroof. How did you forget about
I
it?
was gonna do it
but
in
I
the
just
beginning.
my brain.
I forgot to do it in the beginning because we didn't do an intro. So I'm going to celebrate Rook very quickly. Because we do that here. That's what we do. We celebrate our friends. Rook was on the Crown channel yesterday, which is very awesome, and won. I don't know what that meant. I was a bit confused. But like, you were the best one, or people put things in chat and you got some shout outs at the end, which was very cool and well deserved. But it was like, it was awesome. You got to talk and like get introduced to a bunch of new awesome people on Twitch through the Crown channel community, because they're awesome as well. And if you don't know much about Crownnet, like came over to Guild Wars 2 as well and did some bits and bobs. And yeah, it was really nice to see you on there. So well done, good job. Like, that was awesome, and you did very well as well. Good stuff.
And thank you to everybody who made it, except for Boots, who
I didn't even know about it. You didn't tell me.
It was a tweet.
is Jebro and Kroof. Thank you so much for being there to
Trying
support
to
me.
disconnect from social media right now.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Don't. I'm just
No, you're not.
teasing you. I'm just teasing you. Oh my gosh. I honestly, genuinely was just happy that even a single human being showed up, because my worst nightmare when they told me there was a vote at the end was that like everybody would have forgotten that I had said that there was a stream, and then I'd just be there alone like, swear I have friends on the internet, guys. I swear. I did some content creation and people, I sometimes watched it. But no, it was wonderful, and you were all very lovely, and thank you for the support if you made it, and if not, you can catch the VOD as well. And yeah, I guess with the vote that I'll be featured, the little thing that I did at the end will be featured on a couple Crown Channel shows, so if you see me pop up, that's why, so it'll be a good time. But thank you, that was awesome. And yes, I'm Rook. You can find me at Rookery, ROOKURI, on Twitch, on YouTube, on Twitter with an underscore after it, Instagram as well. So wherever I am, I'm probably talking about MMOs, having a good time, vibing it up, goofing around, talking about things that we have no idea how we got there to talk about them. Even on the Crown Channel show last night,
Yeah, it was fun.
there was a lot of talk about romancing gnomes.
Gnomes.
God.
Yeah, that was,
So
I'm not even sure.
The
how
Keebler
you got there,
elf?
honestly.
I don't know if
I
the Keebler
wanna
elf is a gnome,
know-
but yes.
Why don't more conversations end up about romancing gnomes?
it's a good question. I think those are the real questions we should be
I don't
asking.
know. You didn't play WoW long enough.
Yeah, that's true actually.
That's true. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
We
Or like D&D.
gnome, like norm, like a gnome.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Well,
Nope, that's it. That's me. The end. I have nothing else to say because you all cracked me up so much that I feel like there's nothing else that I could possibly say.
Or you've
at this
forgotten
point.
that you should probably say your Twitch channel name.
I did say it.
Oh, did?
Jebro.
Sorry. Oh, wait, you were making me
Oh,
laugh.
you're
You
aware.
were making me laugh too much as well. I just gave you the opportunity to say it again, so you missed
can
out
find me-
on that.
On two channels, at Kroof _ and at Boots. Oh, aka World of
Underscore.
Enders _ as well. Yes. And yeah, that's where you can find me. So go check those channels out. Follow them for sure.
Amazing. Okay. I'm Jebro, twitch.tv/JebroUni. This is where the LightBringers podcast is on. Unless I say it's not going to be on, it is back. We haven't been here for a couple of weeks because of graduation and all the things. And
Oh, did I miss the 40th or the 50th episode?
Yes, you did.
Fuck.
Yeah, you just.
Sorry, Boots. I am sorry about that, but
It was
You
fun.
can go watch it.
It was
We
fun.
had a really
Jebro
good time.
gave
We had
each
a-
of us
yeah.
$50.
Yeah, we got so much money.
Wait, I gave you money? Is
A lot
that
of
how that
it, yeah.
worked? Okay. I like how I'm the student here. I gave money to people.
Are we supposed to be giving you money for doing this podcast? Is that what's supposed to be happening here?
That's our battle pass. We had to pay for a battle pass
Yes.
to get on the podcast.
Yep.
Twitch.tv/JebroUni if you want to come watch and listen to LightBringers. LightBringers views in recent weeks, last couple of episodes, like they have jumped up. I'm not sure where this
Why
is being
do you keep
advertised.
saying that every time I'm not on?
Because the
mean
algorithm be
that.
slapping when Boots isn't here.
That's
Every
not what I
single-
mean.
literally.
Period.
No,
Literally.
but there's
I came
episodes
on-
where you're there and like they've got massive views as well. But
I
it
swear
no,
to
no,
you,
no,
go
no,
to-
no,
go
no,
to
no.
the- Go to the footage. Go to the footage. Last time I was on, you said our previous episode was the most viewed episode ever.
It was,
and
but
it was
like,
another
but
one
if
I wasn't
say
on.
that every single week, every single time, then it's a good thing because it gets people to come and watch it. It's not an insult to you. I say it every time.
Okay. All right.
I'm trying to get people. It's marketing.
Okay. Sure.
All right. Well,
Y'all want to talk about SEOs,
You-
backlinking?
you could just not come, and then the whole thing would be like, not as fun. I guess.
Blow up. It would blow up. You'd have like
No,
the best.
please
No.
no.
I just said, and it wouldn't be as fun. By the way,
Yeah.
just in case you missed
Oh.
that.
Okay.
Right. It never is as fun.
But you're always welcome. Yeah, of course you are. But yeah, that's been the podcast. Go and check it out. There has been like the audio versions as well. Like they're all good. They're all very equal in views and listens. It's one of you taking it personally. But yeah, no, seriously, it's been awesome. I think this is episode 12. I'm just checking. Yeah, and it's been about, again, everything. I really hate it sometimes when I have to go through these episodes and chapter them. It's a nightmare. It's actually the worst because I have to, because we talk about so many different things. I'm like, how do I round out like 20 minutes of conversation? And sometimes it's just like Kroof says a thing, Rookery does something over there. And I'm just like, I don't know anymore, so go check it out. I also stream mostly at weekends now, maybe an extra day or so during the week because uni is done, and I also passed my licensure exam, which is an extra thing on top of the graduation. So it's been a whole week of like, boom, 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 good stuff, which is, very fucking welcome. So yeah. Please make sure you celebrate Pride this month. Celebrate Pride in Tyria and in the games you play, wherever you can, and talk up for the people around you and everything. We got Juneteenth coming up next week as well. I love this month. It is good times. I will see you soon on the stream as well with these bunch of lovely people. BK Crimes, and we'll be back. We're pretty sure we're going to be back next week, and we might go with the Guild Wars 2 flow idea. I kind of want to get into that, the flow of Guild Wars 2, how it flows.
I won't be here next week. Oh.
Cool. There'll be so many views on that
I'm just saying that
episode.
because
Oh.
Oh, what?
You know
Sorry.
what? I actually won't be here. Well, no, actually, in the afternoon I will. Probably. Maybe. I'll let you know. But
Okay.
Well,
I'm spending
we can
time with a
bring
friend
up-
who's
what-
moving away, so I'm spending as much time with him as possible.
Oh, that's good. Do that.
yes.
Okay.
We'll just get on, we'll get, you can put in a request for people that you've missed to be on the podcast that you would like to do the podcast with. If you're going to be here next
If Rook and
week.
Kroof are not going to be here, then I think I just won't show up.
Oh, rip Jebro! Oh shit! Shit!
I would actually not be surprised if that was the thing.
Okay, wait, I gotta check. I gotta
Say
check.
that,
I
Jebro.
don't
That
say
episode,
that,
it's okay when we start. They're all talking to each other. I'm just
Jebro.
quiet, like in the corner. It's okay.
We
They
love
only
you,
talk to me when the
Jebro.
thing
You
comes
brought
up.
us
It's
together.
okay. It's okay.
We
It's
love
fine.
you so much. We just also really love teasing you.
No, I'm not coming next week either. I'm gonna get all my favorite other
I
people.
currently do not have, as far as I could tell, like, ooh, wait, no, the 24th. Hold on a second.
You can do
I
this
love
later.
that
We've got a
stream
week.
is actively getting our normal PM discussions of when our
Yes.
availability is.
Just right now, live in the moment.
Like, we might as well do it now.
You got some awesome people. I'm gonna get Oscotch. Oscotch is in the stream, was a legend. Glenn as well. Glenn's coming back. Glenn's like, we gotta get Glenn back as well.
Yes, Otter and Glenn.
Period. Those two.
They're here
Yeah.
watching.
Mhm.
so
I
they're
actually,
definitely
I actually literally do have a meeting until 3 p.m. that day.
Oh no.
Boom. Boots is gone.
Jebro,
Proof
get new
is
people.
gone.
Get new
I'm
people.
getting-
Although I
getting
can,
those people back.
if you start late, I can make it back in time.
No, I'm
probably.
not starting late.
If you start mega late.
It depends.
3 p.m. my time,
We'll
3
see.
p.m. my
We'll
time.
see. Well, wait, that is like pretty much the same time.
Yeah, exactly. It
1
ends
hour time.
when this starts. I just have to get from somewhere back here to anyway.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe
somewhat a lot.
like I'll tag this on the podcast, and everyone else can like enjoy our conversation about how you need to transition from one place to another.
Yeah.
And that's gonna.
We can
that's
talk
fine.
about that.
I loved
That
it.
can be a
I thought it was
podcast.
riveting.
Yeah. We'll see you next time on the Good or See podcast. LightBringers episode 50. Fucking, I have no idea anymore. Enjoy your
Let's just
life.
call it episode 50.
Enjoy,
it's
episode 50.1 because
There we go.
Boots missed it because Boots is not
50B.
dedicated to the course.
Oh.
Later. If I don't do anything else, if I like say anything more,
Goodbye.
then it's gonna be a mess.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
wasn't
it's gonna be a
already?
mess. I'm gonna do
It wasn't
this.
already there?
Happy Pride, mother flippers! Be gay, do crimes, and we'll see you next time on the Lightbringers podcast, episode 53 next time. And I will see you soon. Come join us all on Sunday as we walk around in interesting armor. For Pride, do it! Join us. See you soon. And wear hats. Thanks.
Be gay, wear hats.
He did wear hats.
Being gay, do anal.